When he is weaving through heavy city traffic on his bike, desperate to break free from the gridlock. Totally ignoring the traffic laws, the moment the light turns green, he guns it. He tears down the asphalt on his red bike, completely frustrated with his life. What is the point of having a superpower if it is utterly useless? Earlier that morning, the entrance exams for superhumans begin, the elites. Gather here for their test, today is the day. Their actual gifts will be evaluated, powers are ranked across 5 distinct tiers. White dust, blue spirit, violet soul, royal blood, and finally holy demon, the examiner. Announces that the academy only accepts candidates with a blue spirit grade or higher. The rock bottom tier is white dust, which is considered completely useless, most applicants. Boast a blue spirit, a standout genius exhibits a violet soul, then there is one guy with white dust. Everyone whispers that Minhai is the sole loser here. He practically has no magic at all, his weak ability is just so pathetic that he cannot even activate it. They mock him, saying he should just work at a factory. He needs to quit dreaming of becoming a hero, yet this absolute nobody actually had the audacity to confess his feelings to the school goddess, a violet soul user. Speeding down the road, Minhai bitterly reflects on how utterly powerless he really is. How can a weakling like him ever stand against monsters that level massive skyscrapers? Leaving the city limits, he twists the throttle to go even faster. Glancing up at the sky, he spots a blazing comet streaking down. He laughs it off, thinking, there is no way it would hit him. The Earth is huge, right? He was dead wrong. The space rock strikes him directly. The impact flings him off his bike, crashing hard into the ground. A strange system interface begins identifying the host to initiate a soul merger. The sync is successful, locking onto his brain pathway. System scan complete. The host currently possesses absolutely 0 combat abilities. He is incredibly fragile. To prevent his death, an emergency power rewrite begins. His trash talent is instantly upgraded to the legendary royal blood tier. Now he might actually stand a fighting chance. Later, Minhai wakes up. Inside a quiet hospital ward, breathing through a heavy ventilator, the doctor explains that while his physical injuries have healed, the severe head trauma has left him in a deep coma. A kind nurse promises to look after him closely. Meanwhile, the renowned Dr. Jiao is summoned by Tenwen's group to analyze a mysterious vial of mutated monster blood. Every drop must be tested. Days slowly blur together, and though some visitors drop by, Minhai remains completely unresponsive. A whole month passes in total silence. His classmates and friends visit the ward. They knew how desperately he wanted to become a hero, but he let his lack of power get to his head. He should have stayed safe. The boys quietly voice their hopes that he will just find a regular, safe job once he finally opens his eyes. One friend notices a letter and realizes that the beautiful Lu Qin actually replied to him. But honestly, nobody even knows if he will ever wake up or if he will be permanently disabled. A full year passes. Minhai remains asleep, but out in the city, unbelievable horror begins to unfold. Giant, mutated insects crawl out of the sewer grates, spreading panic. A massive swarm invades Nanchang. Everyone must evacuate immediately. She couldn't leave yet. Nurse Song immediately remembered the boy back in room 409. He was the only patient left. Even if he remained asleep, she couldn't leave him behind. Nurse Song hurried back to the ward, completely unaware of the monster shadowing her steps. Bursting into the room, she saw Minhai still lying there, completely unconscious. She rushed over to his bed, desperately trying to figure out how to move him. Just as she grabbed his wheelchair, a sudden shadow flickered in the window reflection. A massive, mutated beast was creeping up directly behind her, ready to tear her apart. Clutching Minhai's hand tightly, she gasped as the creature's massive shadow swallowed her whole. Her overwhelming terror must have triggered something deep within the sleeping teenager. Minhai suddenly snapped his eyes open and ripped the monitoring cords off his chest. Spinning around, he grabbed the massive bug and hurled it away with unbelievable force. The monster crashed violently through the reinforced wall, tumbling out of the hospital. Minhai calmly turned to the nurse, asking if she was injured and could stand. He told her not to worry, politely thanking her for taking care of him. Nurse Song was speechless, managing to stammer out a thank you for saving her life. Minhai looked around, confused if this was actually still the Nanchang hospital. He couldn't fathom how giant mutant roaches had overrun the entire building. Nurse Song explained that radioactive chemicals had leaked down into the sewer system. Every bug down there mutated, prompting Minhai to ask about the other survivors. She hoped everyone had evacuated, but she had been too afraid to leave him alone. Minhai smiled gently, deeply touched that she chose to stay and protect him. He promised never to forget her kindness, though she quickly brushed it off. She insisted she was just doing her job, but she couldn't understand his incredible strength. How could an ordinary high school student crush a massive monster in one punch? Minhai casually explained that he had been secretly practicing his combat moves for a year. He insisted they leave immediately to catch up with the other evacuees. Suddenly, dozens of giant mutant bugs began crawling out from the vents. Minhai told her to hide while he quickly slipped into the laboratory nearby. He grabbed a bottle of experimental serum and smashed it right over his hand. Right as a monstrous bug leaped to tear Nurse Song apart, Minhai stepped in. He had visualized this exact punch 1,000,000 times, but never tested it. Time to see if his power actually works, he muttered, throwing his fist forward. The impact created a massive shockwave, letting Nurse Song realize his terrifying strength. Minhai joked that he was still just a loser who failed his entrance exams. Nurse Song scoffed, saying the examiners must be completely blind to reject him. Even official superhumans of the Pyro class couldn't match this kid's raw physical power. Looking at the dead bugs, Minhai shuddered at how creepy they were. Nurse Song warned him that the sewers held things far worse than roaches. Meanwhile, a crowded city passenger bus was speeding across the main river bridge. Swarms of terrifying giant creatures began emerging from the river banks below. The sight of the monstrous horde nearly caused the driver to lose control. Slamming on the brakes, the vehicle skidded to a halt right at the bridge's edge. Inside, people screamed in terror as the hungry monsters surrounded the vehicle. Just as all hope seemed lost, a figure suddenly appeared on the bus roof. It was a Pyro-class superhuman, ready to burn these monsters to ashes. He wanted to face them personally, declaring he did not care how many monsters were around. His superpower is endless bullets. Those bugs will definitely get exactly what they deserve. But then, a massive rat appears right behind him. The beast leaps onto the roof of the bus, causing it to sway on the edge of the bridge. The passengers panic and scream. Meanwhile, the rat has already gnawed through the metal, claws reaching for the terrified crowd. It looks like there is absolutely no escape. Outside the hospital, Nurse Song and Minhai stand. Watching, she asks him if those monsters are still chasing them, and the young man assures her that there is no immediate danger. But then, she spots a bus on the edge of the broken bridge. It is teetering over the river. It is the very same vehicle that was evacuating people from the hospital. Everyone inside is in deep trouble. Nearby, they find an intercom, hearing that the bus is being attacked by a giant mutant. Rat, a fire-using superhuman, had arrived on the bridge with pistols, but he was quickly wiped out by the monster. He lies motionless. No other registered heroes are anywhere near the area. Minhai quickly asks the nurse to tell him everything about the demon rat, wanting to know its weak spots. She replies that this creature is highly vulnerable to fire, but through the radio he is warned that his general knowledge is completely useless here. They must run and find a safe shelter. But Minhai objects. These people have protected him for a whole year now. He cannot just abandon them. Meanwhile, the colossal beast lifts the bus high, getting ready to hurl it into the deep river. Minhai watches this, realizing with horror that the monster is just playing with its food. He tells the nurse to stay back and keep safe, but Nurse Song warns him that the beast is far too dangerous. Minhai simply smiles, pointing out that when patients are in danger, she never runs away either. He knows that if he does not confront this beast right now, he will never find out his own true limits. He remembers with disgust how small insects used to be. Now, cockroaches are human-sized nightmares, and these mutated rats have grown as massive as a 5-story building. Minhai knows that if a giant monster like this lands, even a single blow, his bones will shatter completely, leaving him absolutely unable to fight back. He charges forward to attack, but quickly realizes something terrifying. This rat is insanely fast. It easily dodges his strike, making him realize that he cannot afford to take a single hit. First, he must draw the creature completely away from the bus. Luckily, the rat gets briefly distracted by a nearby car, sinking its massive teeth into the metal. This is his golden opportunity. Channeling his power, he unleashes a devastating punch. The giant rat loses its balance, crashing heavily onto the hard pavement. But is this really enough? To finish it, he needs to make absolutely sure. After all, pests like Rats are notorious for playing dead. Sure enough, the beast snaps its eyes open, instantly ripping another vehicle in half. It springs back onto its feet and charges straight toward him. Suddenly, the beast halts right next to a wrecked car. Gasoline is pooling heavily on the ground. Minhai quickly pulls out a lighter, flicking the flame. He tosses it straight into the puddle of fuel. Flames erupt, spreading rapidly across the bridge. Just then, a doctor approaches Nurse Song, desperately asking how she managed to survive. Did they get? Is it just an illusion, or is their savior wearing a simple hospital patient gown? The passengers stepping off the bus can only watch as a massive explosion erupts. The blast goes off right where the giant mutant was standing moments ago. Now thick flames completely engulf the beast, while Minhai stands close by, totally unharmed. He recalls a vital clue: these giant mutated rats are absolutely terrified of fire. Minhai notices how incredibly dense the fire is, sensing its destructive power rising quickly. Young hero scowls, muttering that this filthy gutter monster is finally getting punished. There was absolutely no reason for it to threaten innocent civilian lives like this. With a final devastating strike, Minhai completely obliterates the giant, mutated rodent. Cheering crowds celebrate their survival, while the dumbfounded doctor can only stare in disbelief. He wonders why an elite superhuman is wearing a standard hospital patient uniform. Is it possible this is the same high schooler who lay comatose for an entire year? Nurse Song quickly chimes in, identifying the young kid as a patient named Minhai. He was actually rejected by the Elite Academy Command Center before falling ill. Meanwhile, a soldier reports to Lu Chen that the general class threat is officially neutralized. Every citizen is safe, though the operator notes that someone is currently walking their way. No danger here. High up in a tree, Luan silently evaluates the battlefield. She decides she must personally express her gratitude to whoever took down the monster. Back at HQ, the operator searches the database, but cannot identify this mysterious savior. He is not on any registry, proving he is definitely not some rookie trainee. This is clearly a powerful rogue fighter, making Commander Lu Chen wonder what lies ahead. If they have found more radiation sources, these monster attacks will only multiply. Their only option now is to evacuate Nanchang entirely and lock down the infected zones. Over at the medical camp, Nurse Song gently cleans the young hero's fresh wounds. She tells him he was amazing, noting that nobody would have survived without his help. Outside, a desperate girl tries to bypass the security perimeter, dodging the armed guards. She screams that her unconscious brother is still trapped inside the restricted hospital building. The stern guard stops her cold, reiterating that absolutely nobody can enter the red zone. They have evacuated everyone and placed the entire city of Nanchang under strict quarantine. Only military vehicles and superhumans are allowed inside. The sister cries out that she does not care, she must rescue her brother. Sobbing hysterically, she begs them to let her pass since her sibling is completely helpless. He is just a kid who has been stuck in a coma for a whole year. She explains that his name is Minhai, a sweet boy who has never harmed anyone. She whispers to the empty air, begging her beloved little brother to wait for her. She is ready to die for him, but suddenly she spots a familiar figure. Standing right beside her is Minhai, fully awake, prompting her to instantly throw herself forward. She buries her face in his chest, sobbing about how terrified she was for him. Ever since he was first admitted to the ward, she spent every moment looking after him. For 12 long months, she walked to his bedside every single day without fail. She explains that she recently took on a demanding night shift, meaning daily visits are no longer possible. But she quickly reassures Minhai, telling him not to worry about being left alone. Even if he never woke up, she would keep showing up for him forever. Even when she is old and uses a cane, Minhai pulls his sister close. He apologizes for scaring her, as she keeps crying tears of pure relief. He's thanked her for trying all year. Minhai finally woke up and climbed out of bed. The sun was already high in the sky, shining brightly through his window. The young boy realized it had been a very long time since he last slept at home. His sister left some breakfast on the table along with a note. She was still working hard because his medical bills were not paid in full yet. Minhai knew his older sister was working 3 separate jobs entirely because of him. One of those is driving a delivery scooter, and she also does cleaning work. Honestly, she looks even paler than the patient. The young man decides he must find a way to make serious money and improve his beloved sister's life. She should not have to struggle like this. Then he hears the television News: the government is offering a massive 50 million reward to anyone who can provide solid information about the source of the radiation. The news also reports that the bounty for a mutant cockroach is 3,000 and a giant mutated demon mouse fetches 5 million. People are shocked they are paying this much for basic info. It is crazy they are throwing around that kind of cash just for a lead. Minhai realizes this is his chance to pay off those bills and even buy a brand new house. He can finally buy his sister beautiful clothes and nice cosmetics. Now his only goal is to track down that radiation source. He figures he should start by checking Nanya Hospital rather than just wandering around. He knows that even if he finds no clues, he can still earn cash by wiping out monsters. Saving people from evil will also give him some crucial combat experience. The young man decides to check out the Red Hall of Rewards. A receptionist meets him with a warm greeting. She asks if he is here for the bounty announcements or if he is a registered superhuman. Minhai replies that he is indeed a superhuman. The girl asks for his rank to suggest the right mission. Minhai explains that he wants to hunt mutated cockroaches and asks what rank is required. The girl replies that he only needs to demonstrate some basic super strength. Doing so will earn him a trainee badge, but becoming a star rank superhuman requires passing a much tougher exam. Minhai agrees to the test and asks to be taken to the training area. Soon, our hero arrives at the site. The examiners ask him what kind of superpower he has. Minhai replies that his main specialty is punching. The girl shows him a high-tech simulator and explains that this machine will measure his strength. It is highly durable if he hits it with full power. The robot will record the score. Bystanders watch, thinking he needs to reach 800 kilograms just to pass as normal. He definitely needs to give this his best shot. Minhai worries that after a year-long coma, his muscles might not be fully recovered, but regardless, he strikes the machine with his fist. With absolutely all his might, the blow is so devastating that the robot begins to smoke. Just how strong was that? The display flashes 1,000 kilograms. Minhai sighs, muttering that he barely scraped by, and get this, the crowd is stunned. What does he mean, barely scraped by? He literally just shattered the record, she explains. That 800 kilograms was the record for a top-tier iron rank superhuman. Minhai is the very first person to surpass that limit. The girl hands him a reward for this milestone, a 1,000 coin shopping card. If he breaks more records during the exam, he will get even more prizes. Minhai then asks what the ranks are. She explains they are Starlight, Moonlight, Sunshine, and Celestial. Brilliance tier. Anyone higher than these 4 ranks has to go elsewhere. Minhai remembered hearing that reaching the Celestial Brilliance rank meant buying a luxury villa and a sports car, though he was not sure if that was actually true. He just needed to get stronger and show everyone what he could do. Right outside the entrance to the inner area, guild scouts were busy recruiting for their teams. Minhai had not expected this many hunters to show up for the prize. This was his very first time seeing so many high-tier superhumans gathered together. A recruiter approached him asking if he wanted to join the Blood Eagles squad. Minhai asked if they were recruiting on the spot. A moonlit-ranked guy named Lokuan nodded, warning him that going solo meant getting eaten alive by ravenous monsters without a single soul ever finding out. Solo entry into danger zones is banned. Anyway, Lokuan asked what his rank was, demanding to see his official badge. The chubby recruiter immediately noticed that Minhai was merely a low-level Starlight trainee. He shrugged, apologizing because their group does not carry rookies. Lokuan advised Minhai to train a bit more first. Venturing in as a mere Starlight trainee is suicide. Minhai stood there, frustrated. Was his weak rank really going to lock him out? Nearby, a few teenagers recognized him. It was their old classmate Minhai. One mocked how he got rejected immediately because no elite team wants to babysit a complete rookie. Shuing stepped forward, asking when he finally woke from his coma. She had heard he was out cold for a year. Minhai muttered that it was actually quite a while ago. His old classmate sneered, asking what brought him here. Minhai explained he wanted to hunt mutated beasts to pay off heavy hospital debts. One classmate laughed, saying his weak frame made him look like easy monster bait. How could he possibly hunt anything? Lean warned him that the wasteland was far too dangerous. It was not worth risking his life with a non-combat skill. Lu Xinghong agreed. After all, Minhai only possessed a passive luck skill, which was practically useless out there. At best, he could win a free soda. Shuing frowned, telling her classmates to stop being so cruel. she reminded them Minhai just recovered from a coma and they should support him as old friends. She generously offered to let him tag along, promising that their squad would protect him. Minhai knew his hands were tied. Solitary entry was banned. He had to swallow his pride. Still, the disrespect stung. They were all looking down on him. A year at the Superhuman Institute changed everything. These kids had grown strong, while he remained a left-behind dropout. Powerless dropout who wasted a year sleeping. One classmate snickered that at least Minhai had decent luck, making him a perfect good luck charm for the group. Another chimed in, saying friends should stick together, especially since they shared academy history. Besides, the institute required every student to complete at least one mandatory field mission. Their team was currently assigned to assist with a massive contamination outbreak this summer. Minhai quietly asked if Lu Qin would be joining them. A classmate scoffed, asking if he was seriously still dreaming about her. She had already climbed her way onto the institute's prestigious board of directors. There was simply no reason for an elite like her to associate with a low-rank nobody. Shuing added that none of them could ever hope to match Lu Qin's incredible power. She was currently in Liang, working with high officials to locate the active radiation source. She asked Mingho where he thought all this radiation was coming from. Mingho scoffed. What good were grades anyway without any real combat skills? Besides, they were only there to hunt down some mutant cockroaches. Finding the actual radiation source was way out of their league. According to the briefing, 3 distinct species of monsters nested here. First mutant larvae, then giant rats, finally mutated roaches in the sewers. The core issue, some radioactive sludge leaking down in those pipes. This toxic waste triggered the mutations, driving the beasts right to the surface. Roaches were easy targets, the rats deadlier. As the class crossed the street, they gathered near an abandoned car. Suddenly, crash. A massive weight slammed directly onto the roof of the vehicle. Minhai and his friends lucked out as the car absorbed the entire impact. Staring closely, Minhai realized they were dealing with a mutant larva. The giant biomass was actively devouring everything it could touch. One larva seemed easy to handle, but these pests always hunt in packs. Minhai screamed for everyone to run as the swarm began to multiply. They sprinted toward the nearest building, hoping the heavy glass would hold. But Lai Yun tripped. Left completely exposed, she watched in horror as the swarm closed in. Minhai dashed back to save her, ignoring her frantic cries to run. He reminded her of her own words about classmates sticking together. Spotting a nearby fire hydrant, Minhai shattered it with one powerful kick. Water sprayed everywhere, washing away the larvae and scattering their biomass. Mingho realized they had to move before the pieces could reform. Minhai helped Lai Yun up, checking if she was hurt. She stared at him, completely stunned by his sudden bravery. Was this really the same ordinary guy she used to know? She realized he was actually quite handsome when he was being heroic. Too bad he already liked Lucian. At least he didn't abandon her when things got ugly. Together, the two of them finally made it safely inside. The other students immediately rushed over, asking if she was okay. One classmate admitted they wanted to help, but Minhai was just faster. Nobody else had even noticed she fell until he sprinted back. Fortunately, the scattered larvae decided to retreat back into the sewers. Minhai asked a classmate to quickly treat Lai Yun's scraped leg. Lai Yun insisted she was fine, a simple bruise wouldn't stop her. Still, Minhai told the group to stay put while he scouted ahead. He wanted to ensure no other mutants had breached the building. Wang Shon muttered that none of their elite students had even thought of that. Even Minhai, who failed the entrance exam, was acting way smarter. Meanwhile, Mingho walked out of the lab and checked the evacuation map. Vivarium 1 held butterflies, but Vivarium 9 had completely shattered glass. He recalled Vivarium 9 was flagged for missing specimens since December 30th, 2030. Everything was locked with no way out, and even the sewer hatches were completely sealed. Those maggots shouldn't be able to get in. Up ahead in the corridor, he spotted a strange figure. It was Dr. Zio, but why is he in this isolated area? Alone, Minhai realized the doctor was heading straight towards a dilapidated building. Does he actually live there? He's not even a superhuman, so it's too dangerous. But right then, check this out, an unknown number suddenly rings his phone. Line, she called him her sweet little brother and asked if he wanted to have dinner with his sister, as she still hadn't thanked him for saving her life. Yet, and she wouldn't take no for an answer. It was Nurse Song, introducing herself as Song Lan, but said he could just call her Nurse Song. Minhai told her that he was currently in the isolated area. Nurse Song gasped, wondering what he was doing there. Since that place was completely closed off, she had heard there were many mutant monsters lurking around, including dangerous ones they hadn't even encountered yet. It was extremely dangerous, but Minhai countered that it paid well. He needed the money to pay for his sister's medical treatment. Song Lan asked if this was for Chin Yu and if they were actual blood siblings. Minhai explained they grew up together in an orphanage. Song Lan smiled, calling Minhai sweet and incredibly understanding. She wished she had a little brother like him. She added that since he was working, they would meet up next time instead. Deep down, she felt a bit regretful because she had already gotten dressed up for it. Minhai then changed the subject, telling her that he just spotted Dr. Zio walking all alone in this extremely dangerous area. Song Lan gasped, wondering what Dr. Zio was doing there and if it was really him. Minhai confirmed it, saying the doctor didn't see him because the glass was only transparent from one side. Nurse Song mentioned that Dr. Zio had been acting strangely for the past year. Despite being a diligent worker, he always left early and even made mistakes during surgeries. Minhai noted that the doctor always looked completely exhausted, like he never slept. Suddenly, the nurse remembered that a blood sample from a disaster-level beast had been delivered to their hospital, meant to be studied specifically by Dr. Zio, but that blood went missing. The blood of a calamity-level beast mutates rapidly upon contact with oxygen, and some distress-level beasts can actually incubate for an entire year. Minhai asked Nurse Song exactly when that blood went missing. She recalled it was about a year ago, right around the time that Chin Yu was admitted. That very day, the doctor had been notified that a vial of disaster-level beast blood had arrived. It needed urgent examination. Minhai speculated that this stolen blood was likely the precise source of all this deadly radiation. The timeline lined up perfectly along with the year-long incubation period. This was the cause of the disaster. Song Lan noted that the doctor only reported the loss after the purification process finished. Minhai replied that the doctor was definitely lying, and honestly, our guy saw right through him. He aced superhuman theory, making it obvious why the doctor went there. On his own, he faced severe prosecution if his massive blunder ever got out. The doctor was bound to be caught, so he was likely trying to correct his mistake. Song Lan warned that it was suicidal, but Minhai pointed out that Dr. Zio isn't a superhuman, meaning hordes of powerful monsters will gather near that radiation. Source: the desperate man is just terrified of facing the blame for this catastrophe. The man says Sister Song needs to report this immediately, and she agrees she will. She warns Minhai to stay safe, but he tells Sister Song not to worry about him. He has no plans to enter the center, he just needs to stop that doctor. Slipping back into the office, his classmates notice that Minhai is finally back. He reassures everyone that they are safe inside, with all the doors locked tight. Maggots cannot get through, so Minhai tells them to rest while he handles some business. Promising to return soon, he heads out, prompting Loon to ask where he is going. Going out alone is incredibly dangerous, but Minhai just looks at the swarming monsters. He figures those stray maggots will not be able to do much for a while. Deciding on a shortcut, he starts moving through the quiet back alleys instead. Avoiding the main road, Minhai is suddenly surrounded from all sides. Grotesque mutant insects close in, but he is ready to fight. With a quick display of strength, the mutants are deactivated, and he moves on. Keeping a low profile, Minhai continues to track the doctor stealthily through the corridors. He spots a massive, mysterious hole in the floor, complete with a lowered rope ladder. Realizing the doctor must have gone down, he prepares to follow the trail. Descending into the dark underground, Minhai cannot help but wonder what is going on. Why would Dr. Zio come to a place like this? Something definitely feels off. Reaching the bottom floor, Minhai looks around, but the doctor is nowhere in sight. Peeking around a corner, he finally spots the doctor retreating deeper into the hallway. Moving closer, he watches the doctor begin to climb a set of stairs. He calls out loudly, and trust me, the doctor did not see this coming. The doctor spins around in absolute shock as Minhai presses him for answers. He asks if Dr. Zio really lost the Calamity Beast blood a year ago. Zio wonders how a student could possibly know that, lowering his eyes in deep regret. Admitting he made a massive mistake, the doctor steps down the stairs to explain. He insists he never meant to hide the truth. it was all a terrible accident. As a doctor dedicated to saving lives, he never imagined his carelessness would cause this. He only came down here to check if the reservoir was contaminated by that blood. In pure desperation, Dr. Zio begs for a chance to make amends. Minhai is stunned. After all, the doctor is just an ordinary human. He tells him they must report this to the authorities so professionals can handle it. But Zio points out that Minhai is a superhuman who saved everyone at the hospital. His immense strength is undeniable, and now the doctor desperately needs his help. Zio pleads, mentioning his wife and kids, fearing he will lose his career and end up in jail. With no one left to support his family, he begs Minhai to help him cover this up. Telling the frantic doctor to calm down, Minhai points out that his own powers have limits. Running in blindly will only cause more harm and accelerate the spread of the mutation. Realizing their options are extremely limited, the doctor reluctantly agrees. Minhai suggests they leave the area immediately and contact the authorities. Dr. Zio hesitates, asking if Minhai has told anyone else about the blood loss. Minhai confirms his secret is safe, suggesting it is better if the doctor confesses. Since the blood was lost down here, this whole area is highly radioactive, right? But the doctor suddenly replies that he did not actually lose the blood. He tells Minhai that as a mere student, he still has a lot to learn. Minhai already suspected something was wrong with Dr. Zio, but running now was out of the question. He couldn't leave yet. He had no idea what the doctor was actually planning here. The doctor asks if the young man has ever run into cockroaches, maggots, and rats. Those filthy pests live in the dark corners of the city, spreading deadly diseases and bacteria. Those pests drive people mad. Dr. Zio wonders if Minhai ever thought about it. Humans breed uncontrollably, recklessly plundering the Earth's limited resources. They poison our world with toxic chemicals, ruining the planet to a devastating point. Humans even dump garbage into space, proving their actions are no better than those disgusting mutants. Surprisingly, Minhai admits there is some truth to the doctor's words. People must protect their world, but Dr. Zio adds that there is more. There should have never been any living beings in this universe from the start. Things should never have escalated to this peak. A lifeless universe is truly beautiful and pure. To him, the spark of life is nothing but bacteria invading a healthy body. Humans are the ultimate cancer cells, defined by their rapid breeding and total destruction. Generation after generation, they multiply and never stop ruining the world. Even if humans abandon Earth to conquer the entire solar system, they won't stop. They will soon crave the entire Milky Way, leaving no peace wherever they go. There is absolutely no difference between destructive cancer cells and greedy humans. Hearing this, Minhai asks Dr. Zio if he realizes his thoughts are totally anti-human. It is incredibly hard for the young student to understand such a twisted mindset. But the doctor simply smiles, calling the young man a true superhuman. Since youth, Minhai has recognized deadly disasters and wiped them out immediately. He is acting as the universe's natural immune system, fighting off its worst infections. Dr. Zio repeats that he is a medical professional dedicated to curing the sick. When a patient is dying, a doctor heals them, and he plans to do that for the universe. He will help wipe out humanity, treating them like the deadly cancer cells they are. To him, even gross sewer maggots and rats are not as terrifying as mankind. Then comes the chilling confession. Dr. Zio created the entire radiation source himself. What started as a simple experiment will soon wipe out everyone in Liang City first. The dying Earth needs treatment, and other cities will quickly follow Liang's dark fate. But before he can complete his grand cure, he must eliminate someone like Minhai. Mockingly, the doctor thanks the young man for being so incredibly naive and foolish. Now he can freely infect the entire city, but Minhai quickly points out a major flaw. Since South City is completely isolated, the mutation cannot possibly spread anywhere else. Dr. Zio scoffed, cutting off the surface and sealing the sewers won't help them at all. Every drop of water flows right through here, and the pipes will carry the deadly radiation. It will stream straight into Liang City, where people wash groceries, shower, and clean. That contaminated water is used everywhere, eventually draining back down into the massive sewers. Once inside, every rat and cockroach will mutate. Hearing this, Minhai panics. He needs to escape right now, but the regular doctor lacks the power to stop him. Minhai bluntly states that he doesn't understand. Dr. Zio roared in absolute fury, his eyes glowing like a monster. He screamed, demanding His blood be returned this instant, but Minhai was already making his escape. The kid knew this stolen blood was his ultimate weapon, but Dr. Zio had a terrifying trick of his own, using himself as a mutant lab rat. Just like those sewer monsters, he lunged forward, desperate to tear the boy apart. Minhai finally reached the rope ladder. He had to climb up and fast. The mutated beasts surrounded him. Honestly, this does not look good for our guy. Minhai realized the doctor wasn't aiming at him. He wanted to cut down that ladder. But the kid was too quick. Outsmarting the beasts, he scrambled up and leaped right out of the hole. Once on the surface, he spotted a massive puddle of fresh, liquid concrete nearby. This was the perfect setup. Minhai activated his powers, sending the wet concrete pouring down into the exit, hardening it instantly. He did it. The escape route was completely sealed. The monsters in Dr. Zio were trapped, but deep below, Dr. Zio could smell that beast blood boiling inside his own veins. He swore this kid wouldn't escape. Meanwhile, Minhai rushed out of the abandoned building and bolted toward the main street. He took the underpass. Now, here is how these mutant ranks actually work. Larvae are the absolute weakest, holding the initial rank. Next up are the normal rank cockroaches, then come the general rank rats, which are incredibly ruthless. Dealing with mutated rats is a nightmare, but if an actual adult human mutates, it becomes an absolute disaster. Minhai had a bad feeling about this. He was not sure he could handle Dr. Zio alone. He definitely couldn't run toward Lai Yun and his classmates. Leading a monster to them would end in complete disaster. He had to buy time until backup arrived. Meanwhile, a high-ranking moonlight hero named Hangfeng stood on watch nearby. He reported that the entire area was clear. All local pests were destroyed. Another moonlight rank hero named Xiao Jan confirmed from the far west that her side of the abandoned building was secure too. Loya Zhang suggested heading back since her magic reserves were completely drained. The fatty agreed, deciding to withdraw his puppets since they had already earned a massive reward. Another guy complained, saying he was just a healer. And this fight wasn't his problem. Hangfeng wondered if any real threats were left. Suddenly, a loud blast rang out. The metal manhole cover he was standing on flew into the air, launching him sky-high. Xiao Jan reacted in a flash. Leaping up, she caught him by the waist and landed safely atop a lamp post. Down below, Dr. Zio burst out of the sewer, fully mutated and hideous. Hangfeng saw him and groaned, joking that the rookie had just totally jinxed them. Loya Zhang gasped, shocked to see a monster hiding right beneath their feet. He needed to be taken down immediately so they could go home. Fatty on the Hangfeng, on the other hand, only saw a massive payday from this giant beast. He expected at least $100,000 for taking down this giant beast. He claimed this wretched creature was unlucky to face a moonlight-ranked group. But Dr. Zio flatly declared that the only path to recovery was complete destruction. Hangfeng stood stunned. Did this mutated freak really think he could beat them? Before he could move, Dr. Zio grabbed him by the neck, repeating his threat. The only cure is absolute annihilation, and with that, his hand morphed into blades. The steel drove straight through Hangfeng as Dr. Zio cold-bloodedly claimed his first victim. Xiaojin screamed for the monster to drop him, instantly drawing her twin blades. She lunged at the mutated doctor, but his lightning-fast strikes slashed her open. Blood sprayed everywhere as Xiaojin collapsed onto the cold dirt, seriously wounded. Dr. Zio calmly chalked up his second casualty before turning to the remaining students. He mockingly asked if they were glad their friends died, leaving more loot behind. Suddenly, a horde of vile beasts began pouring out from the rupture outside. Jay hissed that he was out of time, despite wanting to play more. With a parting roar, he fled the chaos, vowing to tear Ming-Hu apart. The portly student watched in absolute horror, trembling at this nightmare-rank lord. Meanwhile, Xiaojin lay bleeding out as her desperate ally held her trembling body. On the run, Ming-Hu sprinted for his life through the dark alleyways. He thought he lost them, but the beasts tracked him down easily enough. Their sense of smell was deadly, and Dr. Zio was slow compared to them. Ming-Hu knew he could not let them catch him, spotting a gas station. He had a wild idea, completely drenching himself in highly flammable gasoline. The toxic fumes masked his human scent, sending the monsters running right past. But the relief was short-lived as the persistent mutants doubled back toward him. Ming-Hu scrambled inside a convenience store, hiding behind the dusty shelves. One massive beast slithered inside, sniffing around as Ming-Hu held his breath. Cornered, he shoved the heavy shelf onto the beast and bolted for the exit. He slammed the glass door shut, realizing the other two mutants had gone ahead. Only this hypersensitive tracker was left, and it was locked onto him. Minhai knew running was useless now. This thing would never stop chasing him. As long as this bloodhound was breathing, he would always be found. To fight back, he needed his fist to touch an elemental attribute first. Only then could he trigger his special spirit skills for combat. Acid required acid, and a fire strike required touching actual flames. Even his blast wave needed water, but this store had absolutely nothing useful. Stepping outside meant instant death, and the beast was already making its move. It broke free from the debris, lunging straight at the unarmed young man. Minhai braced himself to fight with nothing but his raw physical strength. His desperate punch sent it flying, but the creature bounced right off the wall. It struck back instantly, knocking Minhai flat onto his back. The beast pounced, its massive jaws snapping close enough to feel its foul breath. With no time to think, Minhai unleashed a brutal counterpunch. The devastating blow shattered its jaw, making the monster bite clean through its own tongue. It crashed backward as Minhai scrambled up, ready to deliver the final strike. The severed monster head crashes through the wall, flying out. Meanwhile, a heavily wounded Dr. Zhao stumbles around the city, hunting him. He slips into a gas station, spots his dead beast and freezes. Everything clicks. Dr. Zhao realizes his mutants must evolve to stop this kid. He orders his beast to devour its fallen comrade, hoping this savage feast will help them sniff out blood much better next time. The cruel beast master screams for them to bring the boy back alive. Meanwhile, Minhai flees. He thought he had finally lost. This is his chance. It is packed with machinery he can weaponize to fight back. As long as there are useful materials around, he can become infinitely stronger. Minhai heads straight for the central fountain. He has to wash off the gasoline before they track his scent down. If they do, his own blazing strike will set him on fire before he can attack. Besides, he knows the beast will sniff him out no matter where he runs to. Running is useless. He needs to put distance between them to delay them, aiming to take out as many monsters as possible, but he cannot face Dr. Zhao yet. He has to be extremely smart about this. Suddenly, Minhai spots one of the pursuers. How did it get so massive? The beast lunges. He barely dodges. It is incredibly fast. The creature is clearly stronger now. Did it actually evolve? Dodging another swipe. He notices that although it is much larger, it is also slower. Minhai drops into a fighting stance and dares the beast to come at him. But just like that, he is surrounded by 3 giant monsters. He needs a plan fast. Minhai spins around and bolts toward a towering amusement ride, scaling the narrow steel supports to get higher. Up here, he can easily pick them off one by one, and once he reaches the top, he will wipe them out completely. But one monster leaps straight up, snapping right at him. There is zero time to hesitate. Minhai triggers his steel absorption and delivers a truly massive counterattack. The beast loses its balance and plummets. Right then, he realizes just how much power he now holds. With steel-infused fists, he can literally punch clean through these creatures, but the remaining monsters keep climbing. Pushing upward, their strength easily matches a commander-rank threat. Minhai spots one monster attempting to flank him. Will it succeed? Not a chance. He drives a brutal punch straight into its jaw, launching the beast skyward. His next strike smashes its heavy bone armor, sending it flying back. These things are evolving at a terrifying speed. One nearby has already grown sharp bone spikes behind its head. Landing a clean hit won't be easy anymore. Suddenly, he is completely cornered. As monsters close in from both sides, he lashes out at the closest enemy, throwing it back. Seizing this brief opening, the young man leaps off the steel structure. Just moments ago, he was near the control center. The power grid is active, and he is ready to wipe out the remaining monsters. Now, Minhai was dangling from the structure and knew a fall from this height meant shattered legs or instant death. Suddenly, another beast clung nearby, dragging its massive body closer. This was the final creature left standing. It suddenly lunged straight at Minhai, locking them in a desperate, plunging death grip. Minhai knew this creature was just a parasite feeding on Dr. Zhao. If it died, the doctor would lose his power, but whoever hit the ground first, they both die. Taking the beast down with him would still be a win. Luckily, Minhai was on top. He needed the beast to cushion his impact. Right then, the entire situation flipped. The creature absorbed the brutal landing, and Minhai miraculously survived, calling the beast completely foolish. Back in the city, Sun Lan was frantic, unable to get any signal through. Was he dead? Just as panic peaked, his voice finally crackled through. Minhai explained his phone had been dead. Meanwhile, the military had fully cordoned off the quarantine zone, sending heavily armed cleanup crews to sweep the chaotic streets. While soldiers eradicated the beasts outside, Commander Song realized both Minhai and Dr. Zio were totally missing. Over the radio, Minhai reported he was at the old amusement park. The doctor had a horrific plan to unleash the mutation across the city. He aimed to dump the toxic mutagen directly into Liang City's water supply. Song was absolutely furious, but Minhai revealed he had managed to snatch a critical flask containing the original mutagen. That glowing liquid held the key to the entire plague. It contained both active pathogen and vital antibodies needed to synthesize a cure. Once developed, they could save Liang City. Sun Lan promised to coordinate with the High Command immediately, sending an elite rescue squad to Minhai's exact location. But Minhai warned them to head straight for the South Tower. Dr. Zaya was relentlessly hunting him down, making it impossible to hold his current position. The doctor had mutated into a monster. They needed serious backup or everyone dies. At the base of the tower, Dr. Zio was already waiting, grinning coldly. He mocked Minhai for being so easy to read, calling out to him. The twisted scientist gestured upward, pointing out terrified hostages trapped at the very peak. Desperate screams echoed from above. Zio claimed he spotted them while climbing up there. He originally wanted to slaughter them, but kept them alive for a little game. The weeping students begged for mercy, screaming for Minhai to come save them. One girl shrieked that Minhai was the only target, sobbing that this was unfair. She screamed they should not have to die so young. Minhai silently weighed his options. Deep down, he knew he stood zero chance against Dr. Zio alone. He could ignore the selfish students, but he could never abandon Ling Yun. He just had to buy enough time until the military rescue teams arrived. Zio mocked him, asking if one of those crying kids was his precious girlfriend. He guessed it was the girl who desperately begged him to run away. Ling Yun shouted back that they were nothing more than ordinary high school classmates. The doctor burst out laughing, mocking the idea of risking lives for classmate duty. Minhai spat back that a twisted monster like him would never understand human bonds. After all, the mad doctor viewed humanity as mere cancer infecting the cosmos. Minhai mockingly brought up their past debate, declaring that human lives have profound meaning. They are the very consciousness that gives a cold, empty universe its soul. Zio laughed hysterically at the sentiment, sneering at his foolish philosophy on evolution. He asked what kind of development they meant. Minhai argued that civilization and human intellect are bound to evolve, even superhumans are. Just another step in evolution, but Zio countered superhumans are nothing but stubborn viruses, yet some pathogens are harder to cure than others. Because they keep evolving, Minhai scoffed if two sides cannot agree. Neither can prove their point, only one law remains, might makes right. Then Minhai pointed out that he is the one fighting. But the doctor claimed to represent the absolute laws of the universe. A supreme cosmic order designed to wipe out all mortal life. Minhai held up a vial of blood plasma, promising the doctor gets it if he wins. The villain warned that the boy is out of his depth. Minhai just sneered. If a grand cosmic force cannot even defeat a college dropout, then this whole higher order is a joke, a pathetic loser. Pure garbage, Zio sighed. Why make this so incredibly difficult for everyone? If Minhai refuses to hand over the blood, everyone in the tower dies. But the hostages did not care. They were proud elite students of the Superhuman Academy, sworn to lay down their lives to protect the innocent citizens of this city. Trading their lives for public safety was worth it. So be it, Zio cold-bloodedly chuckled. He would happily end them right now. With a flick of his wrist, the mad doctor launched his sharp daggers. One blade sliced deep into Minhai's leg, making him howl in pure agony. Next, the psychopath threatened to target the cute classmate standing nearby. Splat, the dagger pinned her shoulder, and the doctor mocked his own bad aim. Minhai retreated. The doctor warned that running would only earn him more wounds. Desperate screams echoed from high above as the terrified students begged for their lives. They implored Minhai not to abandon them. This put the doctor in a bind. If the boy focused only on survival, things could get slightly annoying. But victory was impossible anyway. Honestly, it was time to crush his spirit. Minhai suddenly froze in his tracks. Massive, jagged stone spikes shot out of the earth ahead. Zio warned that if the boy kept running, the battle would grow boring. This chamber would now be their cage. If Minhai crosses the boundary, one classmate pays the ultimate price. Minhai stepped closer, accepting the terms. Zio smiled and added a condition. Defeat the doctor and his hostages go free. He could become a savior. A glorious hero who rescues the entirety of Lying City, but he's just too weak. Zio mockingly recalled hearing all about Minhai's pathetic stay at the hospital. All because he failed his university entrance exams and collapsed from stress. Sliding right into a long, pathetic coma, and guess who the head surgeon was? None other than Zio himself. A total failure deserves no respect. His peers only look down on him, whispering behind his back. They mock his weakness, treating the boy like a complete outcast. The doctor spat that nobody cares about Minhai, except one mysterious woman. She sent flowers, but no one ever visited him. He is trash. Yet he stands there playing the hero. Ling Yun desperately screams for him to run. But another blast drops Minhai to his knees as blood stains the ground. From his chest, Ling Yun screams at him to run as Dr. Zhao wonders why. This kid is still fighting when he should have died in surgery a year ago. Minhai could drag himself up from his knees 100 times. Nothing would change. Goddess warns him that a hostage will die if he touches that glowing circle. The beast approaches our hero and mocks him, saying he cannot even adapt to this world. Minhai coats his hand in blood, touching his wound and flings blood at his opponent. The spray hits the doctor's eyes, forcing him to blink in shock. Seizing the sudden opening, Minhai darts away, igniting his flames as he declares he is utterly sick of this doctor. The doctor is pathetic, keeping his hand covered in blood. Our hero declares that this blood lets him unleash his ultimate attack, the demon god punch. With one explosive strike, Dr. Zhao flies backward, crashing hard onto his back. High above, the terrified students scream, begging Minhai to save them. One girl notices he is bleeding heavily, and Ling Yun begs him to bandage the wound before he loses too much blood, but Dr. Zhao struggles to stand, muttering that once he finishes Minhai, those kids are next. Just then, Dr. Zhao realizes what Minhai's actual superpower is. The hero lands another heavy blow, smashing a fist directly into his opponent's jaw. The monster claims these attacks are strong, but entirely useless against him. He recalls how the boy used magical fire to destroy one of his hounds. Still, Minhai unleashes a rapid flurry of savage strikes, yet the beast somehow stands firm, sliding backward across the floor while barely managing to stay upright. The villain realizes this kid can absorb the properties and energy around him to use them as deadly weapons, calling it an incredibly fascinating skill. But Dr. Zhao boasts that none of this works on a high-ranked monster. Minhai's talent to channel his surroundings and unleash unique element strikes is undoubtedly a rare gift, but no matter how hard he fights, it is not enough to take down a true leader-class monster like Dr. Zhao. Up in the rafters, a hostage points out that Minhai's talent is incredibly bizarre, noting that his official white dust rank power is literally just luck. That is useless in a real fight, yet his classmates see he's stronger than anyone here, shouting for him to unleash everything and crush the monster. But Dr. Zhao laughs, declaring he is now using his full leader-class strength, a level of power far beyond the weakling mutant our hero previously killed. He claims Minhai stands zero chance against this form, even with his mutated spirit power. Dr. Zhao smirks, watching the young warrior struggle to survive. He loves seeing him give 100%, only to still be completely outmatched, which has to be the most frustrating feeling in the world. Can never compare to his perfect, mutated body. It is pure arrogance. The doctor snarls that Minhai is not the only one who can throw hands. Both fighters trade earth-shattering punches, and the shockwave sends our hero flying backward, though he barely keeps his balance. Instantly, the beast rushes in. To keep up the relentless assault, Minhai realizes that Dr. Zhao's physical speed has spiked incredibly since he started using raw fist strikes. He takes another devastating blow, launching him skyward as Dr. Zhao claims he will. Aiming to guide the young man back, Minhai clutched his bleeding chest. The wound still bled. Zio admitted he had forgotten something. Another talent of his, luck. The kid was at his absolute limit. Just one blow would do it. Even if he survived, he was ruined. Crippled forever, still his lucky power was highly useful. The monster draped his hand over the hostages, mocking that none of them possessed luck like Minhai. Minhai screamed at him to stop. After all, they had a deal, but Zio replied that he always keeps his promises. However, the kid needed a dose of reality. The boy realized he was out of line. Zio then declared that because of this young man's pathetic incompetence, one of his friends had to die, a bone spike pierced right through a girl's chest. Her head slumped down. She completely stopped moving. Minhai swore he would never forgive the doctor and would make him pay. His eyes flashed with a demonic light as he roared in pure fury. Zio chuckled, telling him there was absolutely no need to get worked up. As a professional, he guaranteed the girl would not die until that bone was pulled out of her, but if she doesn't get help within 5 minutes, she will surely die. Minhai knew he had to crush the doctor within those 5 minutes. Minhai lunged forward to attack. The mutant immediately noticed that the boy's special skill was merely at the blue spirit tier. This was his absolute limit. Even if he burns through all of his blood, it still won't be enough. Zio added that he didn't even need to fight back since Minhai would bleed out anyway. Right now his full strength was completely pathetic. The villain recalled how miserable Minhai looked when he first arrived at the hospital after his failed suicide attempt. Zio despised nothing more than people who survived those attempts. If someone cannot even handle dying, why are they still living? He was the one who chose death, yet he was saved, forcing doctors to waste their precious time on him. Zio scoffed that Minhai was just a pathetic worm that nobody cared about. He was so weak that when he tried to end it, he could not even do that right. Did Minhai realize how much trouble he had caused his family? His sister threw away her pride for him. When medical bills piled up as debt, she fell to her knees before the doctor, begging him not to throw her brother out of the clinic. Minhai and his sister had always lived at the absolute bottom of the city, slaving away for the strong and rich. So why was he deluding himself by trying to achieve something great? The monster declared he would end this pathetic, miserable existence, so the young man would no longer have to carry such a heavy burden. Zio threw another punch, but Minhai withstood the impact. The monster realized the boy was pushing past his limits again. Zio warned that if the young man survived the attack, then someone else must die in his place, but Minhai snapped that he had never tried to take his own life. He valued living more than anyone. The doctor shrugged, saying none of that mattered. What was important was that he had just let another one of his friends die. Minhai added that the one who truly did not care about anything was actually Dr. Zio. His sister only threw away her dignity and begged the doctor because she loved him, her only remaining family. She promised to visit him even when she grew old and needed a cane to walk. But when the beast mutation erupted, while everyone in the hospital fled for their lives, Nurse Song refused to run. She refused to abandon a paralyzed boy who had been bedridden for a whole year. Minhai knew he could never abandon them, especially since Lin Yun raised funds for him. She had rallied the entire class to donate money just to keep him alive. But the evil doctor sneers that his precious savior will soon die right before him. Now watch closely, because Minhai is about to set the record straight. His actual talent rank is way beyond a simple blue spirit tier. The monster can regenerate endlessly, but Minhai's strikes leave permanent scars that cannot heal. He has already landed exactly 49 devastating blows on the beast's body. Dr. Joe realizes he is completely exposed as Minhai launches another icy assault. The wicked doctor realizes this kid can actually unleash an ultimate secret technique. He is not blue rank, he is a purple soul genius. Direct hit, the mutated doctor crashes down onto the hard dirt. Minhai mutters that even a weakened beast is better than a monster like Joe. Safe at last, he gently lowers his classmates down to the floor. They stare at him in disbelief. Did he really manifest a purple soul? To possess that rank and execute a secret art is simply unheard of. He is insanely powerful, and the rescued students flood him with gratitude. How did the academy miss this? Is he hiding his true strength? Either the testing machine was broken, or the examiner deliberately rigged his results. Minhai rushes over to Lin Yun, reassuring her that the nightmare is finally over. Unbelievable, she stares at him, shocked by his hidden power. And thank goodness, because the high-ranking backup has finally arrived. Frantically waving their arms, the kids call out for immediate medical help. The leading officer commands her team to secure the wounded right away. She tells Lin Kunyu to secure the perimeter and neutralize any remaining threat. Step back, Ling Ling barks orders to clear the area for the medics. The head medic quickly examines the wounded student, sighing in relief. Luckily, the weapon missed vital organs, meaning they will survive with quick treatment. Lalin points out that Minhai is also covered in deep, bleeding wounds. He is hurt badly. They need to treat those wounds immediately. The captain notes they expected a terrifying master-rank beast to be here. She looks around, demanding to know where this high-level monster went. Lin Kunyu steps forward, reporting that the threat has already been handled. Crisis resolved. The elite Sun rank master has everything under control. But Lalin warns them not to let their guard down so quickly. Lin Kunyu simply points down toward a deep, smoking ditch nearby. At the bottom lies the charred, lifeless corpse of the threat. It turns out this monster was actually a human who used illegal mutations. He twisted his own body with dark experiments to force a breakthrough. Lalin asks who slaughtered this beast, and everyone points to Minhai. The young hero stays quiet, but the evidence is impossible to deny. He finally admits that he was the one who ended the threat. Minhai pulls out a glowing vial, revealing a shocking piece of evidence. He confesses that he snatched this dangerous chemical right from Dr. Zhou. He revealed that the mad doctor wanted to dump this strange resource into the city water supply. Lu Ling asked in absolute shock how Minhai could have possibly pulled that off. The boy explained that he simply swiped it from the rogue while he was busy bragging. Lu Ling demanded to know how he crushed the beast. Minhai proudly replied that he smashed it with a single punch of his combat fist. His newly awakened power was literally just his fists, which Lu Ling found totally unbelievable. She asked which hunter department he was registered in, and Minhai confessed that he only had the rank of Starlight Trainee, which Commander Lu Ling couldn't believe. Did this rookie not realize that the monster had easily slaughtered 2 elite Shining Moon hunters? The classmate nearby spoke up, assuring Officer Lu Ling that it was indeed true. Minhai was definitely a super-evolved hunter, but the girl quickly added that he did it without ever passing the Academy's official super evolution exam, shocking Lu Ling completely. She gasped, wondering how that was possible, while Agent Lin Kunyu stared in absolute shock. Staring at the young hero in complete disbelief, as Lu Ling suddenly put the pieces together. He was the arrogant kid who ignored her radio commands. A nearby bystander gasped, wondering if he was indeed the same legendary hero who single-handedly saved everyone from that terrifying monster on the South Region bus a while back. His blood-covered face back then made him almost unrecognizable, but Lin Kunyu spoke up. She declared that from this day forward, Minhai was the true hero of this city. The special agent added that his incredible feat made the highest-ranked hunters look totally useless. Our hero shrugged, saying he was merely doing whatever it took to keep his classmates safe from harm, prompting Officer Lu Ling to immediately ask if he would join their super evolutionary force, tempting him with high pay and massive perks. She promised great pay, massive perks, and female coworkers who were just as beautiful as her. Plus, they even had free dental insurance, prompting Lin Kunyu to tell her to stop being so shameless, pointing out that the other women in their elite organization were actually not very nice at all. Still, the officer added that while the Academy rejected him, their official organization was stepping up and eagerly inviting him to join. Minhai mumbled that he would think about it before passing out completely. The doctor quickly checked him over, noting the kid was severely exhausted and had lost a lot of blood, making his body incredibly weak. Soon, the local news broadcasted the heroic update that the Hunter organization had officially cleared out all the mutated beasts from the city's southern suburbs. They also praised a mysterious new superhero who played a massive role. Discovering the source of the corruption and halting its spread, this hero is currently undergoing treatment, and the interview with him will only resume after his condition improves. Meanwhile, inside Lenyang City Hospital, a dedicated nurse sat watching over him. Fresh flowers sat beautifully in a nearby vase as the young man slowly opened, eyes coming to his senses as the nurse smiled happily. She happily explains that he has been completely out cold for 2 whole days. Fearing he would slip back into a coma, Minhai weakly asked why Nurse Sun Lan was here. She smiled and explained she got transferred here specifically to oversee his recovery, proudly adding that he was now a real-life celebrity. There was already a massive crowd of eager reporters waiting outside his Door desperately waiting to get an exclusive interview, Minhai weakly asked the. He asks the nurse what she knows about his classmate, Lin Yun. Nurse Sun says. The girl is out of danger. She only needs time to recover in hospital. Suddenly, the door swings open. Officer Lu Ling and General Li walk right in. The general asks how our young hero is holding up today. Minhai replies that he is fine. Nurse Sun chimed in, saying his body is recovering way faster than any ordinary human. Lu Ling repeats that a raw talent like him belongs in their special force. They need a superhuman with his monstrous strength. General Li thanks Minhai for everything he did to protect their city during the battle. The officer bows her head in deep respect. If not for his actions, they would have suffered devastating losses. Minhai shrugs. He only did what any good citizen would do. Lu Ling says she has the day off. She wants to take Nurse Sun out to eat and catch up. Nurse happily admits that it has been a long time since they had a fun day out. Nurse Sun adds with a smile that bubble tea is absolutely non-negotiable. Lu Ling laughs and agrees. Minhai turns to General Li, sensing the older man has something serious to discuss. How did you know? The general wonders. Minhai simply smiles. Lu Ling clearly used shopping as an excuse to clear the room. This conversation is going to get heavy. Prepare yourselves. It is about to get deep. The general praises his sharp eyes. He already debriefed Nurse Sun and his friends about the brutal fight with Dr. Zhao Shuhiwa. By all accounts, Minhai should not have survived. Even elite hunters do not realize how terrifying those top-ranked monsters are. Raw power is never enough. Superhumans need strategy and wisdom. Minhai laughs it off, says it was just talent and a lot of luck. The general disagrees. Luck alone is not enough to defeat Dr. Zhao. Minhai showed something far greater, but the boy claims the general is giving him way too much credit. Li asks what exactly Dr. Zhao said. Minhai reveals a dark truth. Madmen called humanity cancer cells, claiming the universe rejects all life. The general sighs. Shockingly, not all of his words were crazy. He explains that the monsters invading them came from a comet. Every passing comet carries a direct threat to humanity. That is their instinct. While our instinct is survival, does Minhai know what drives those beasts? Their only instinct is to destroy. They will not stop until they wipe out all of humanity. For us, survival comes first. Understanding them comes second. Even scientists do not have answers, so Minhai asks the general, if the universe truly wants us dead, why grant us the ability to evolve? The general explains that our power to adapt is our saving grace. It is how we fight back. The fact that humans can evolve naturally proves we are not written off yet, but compared to the vast universe, we are mere newborns. The invaders are like a deadly virus. We must survive to find the truth. Humanity cannot afford to fall. Even as an overpowered superbeing, protecting all of humanity is impossible, but he will absolutely protect his loved ones. The general mentions that after this conversation, he has two things to clarify, hoping Minhai will be completely honest. First, about a year ago, they discovered a mysterious comet named Divine Queen. After entering the atmosphere, it suddenly changed course and crashed, exploding on impact. Minhai happened to be right near the impact zone back then, which left him in a coma for a whole year. Now he finally understands why. The general asks what he witnessed that night, and Minhai replies he saw blinding light filling the entire sky right before he lost consciousness. The general wonders if the young man truly did not see anything else, like something crawling out of the fallen comet. Minhai confidently replies that he saw absolutely nothing, asking if the comet itself was monster. The general explains that disasters are classified from ranks 1 to 12. Rank 1 is like a local tornado. However, the recent southern suburb crisis was rated as a rank 3 threat. Dr. Zhao had actually planned to escalate it to rank 6 using the water supply, but Minhai stopped him. In contrast, the Divine Queen comet was deemed a rank 9 disaster since day 1 it poses a massive threat to the entire country, not just this province. Minhai admits that sounds terrifying, but the general warns that the monsters themselves are not the scariest part here. 5 years ago, a massive 8th rank calamity hit the south, triggered entirely by an imperial rank beast. The current contamination is directly linked to that ancient imperial bloodline. Back then, a black market dealer hid a sample of it. Minhai asks if a single creature's blood could really infect a whole city. General explains that this is exactly why the Divine Queen Comet is so incredibly dangerous. It is why their organization thoroughly searched the crater but found absolutely nothing. Minhai is the only nearby survivor who lived through the blast, meaning he might hold key clues. Minhai apologizes, repeating that he remembers nothing. The general guesses that the comet fragments might have landed somewhere else. Minhai then brings up the general's second topic. The veteran officer reveals that Lu Lin highly recommended him, and they want him to join their elite ranks. On top of that, Minhai possessed the insane luck of awakening with a rare purple soul tear after his coma. Minhai hesitates, saying he needs to talk to his sister first. The general smiles, saying their doors are always open. Soon, another soldier calls out to the general as they leave. The general asks if the boy really forgot everything, but Minhai suddenly asks about his reward for finding the source of the contamination, asking if he will be paid. The general laughs, reassuring him that his reward will be delivered. In full, left completely alone, our protagonist decides to enter a deep state of meditation. Suddenly, a mysterious voice asks if he heard the general's words. Before him stands a massive statue. Right away, the stone begins to glow with radiant light, transforming into a beautiful woman. Is this the rank 9 calamity? She asks why he is looking at her so arrogantly, while he realizes she is actually a rank 11 threat. Minhai wonders how she got here. Destroy humanity. The goddess simply asks if he remembers the brilliant doctor's warning. Humans are far too greedy. That alone makes the universe highly uncomfortable. Minhai just shrugs. That is even less of a reason to leave her. In exchange, she promises to grant this young man an incredibly powerful super being ability. Even during his long year in a coma, she kept pulling his consciousness out to train. Without that constant, brutal training, he never would have defeated the mutated doctor. Minhai smiles. They are in perfect symbiosis. If he dies, she dies too. The goddess snorts. She only settled in this fragile body because of that terrible accident. He is an incredibly weak host, completely unsuitable for a grand deity like her. But Minhai remembers the warning. Her main instinct is destruction. Still, is survival not her true instinct? She chose to adapt to him. She bonded just to survive. The goddess quickly cuts him off. She sternly warns him never to compare her divine, noble life to such low creatures. Does he honestly believe finding a perfect human vessel is such an easy task? True symbiosis takes time, requiring a very long and grueling process of physical adaptation. This body needed a whole year. Minhai realizes why he was asleep. A whole year of sleep, just to let her slowly upgrade his abilities. She promises they will coexist peacefully from now on, but Minhai remains skeptical. If survival is her main goal, then her instincts are exactly like humans. She eagerly offers to show him her world, promising it will completely change his mind. Their world is far from perfect and definitely has a pretty dark side to it. But overall, it is not too bad. Minhai realizes she is actually reasonable. He is genuinely glad they met and hopes they can find some solid common ground. She warns him to focus on training because his current power level is pathetic. He barely survived a fake master rank beast, and she has no desire to die. She even offers to conjure a powerful training opponent. But Minhai just wants to rest. Overworking even in meditation is a terrible idea. He wakes up. His deep meditation session is officially over now. Now think about it. He literally has a live nuclear bomb sitting directly inside his body. If he ever leaks this secret, that bomb will instantly blow up the entire world. When the time comes, there is no telling what kind of apocalypse it brings. Still, with a goddess inside, handling rank 9 disasters should be highly possible. First, manage her. Emerging outside, eager reporters immediately swarm the young hero. They instantly hail him for clearing that terrifying mutated pollution crisis. Their first question is simple: why is our new city savior wearing a mask? They desperately demand he take it off and give them a quick statement. Minhai calmly states that he will only do whatever it takes to protect his people. Monster hunting is the government's job, not his concern. He adds that anyone brave enough to step into South City is a hero. Go interview them instead. Back at school, his classmates are completely blown away. They praise his incredible speech. Meanwhile, the heavyset soldier stands in the cemetery. Deeply emotional, he quietly repeats our hero's words over his fallen comrades. Everyone who sets foot in South City is a hero. His troop is the savior. Later, resting in the park, Minhai realizes keeping his mask on was smart. Otherwise, he would definitely get himself dragged into a massive, endless pile of annoying trouble. He was in some experimental lab back when he was pretty young. Our hero asks the nurse not to mention any of this to his sister. If she finds out, she will worry. No way he wants that. The girl spots Minhai, asking what her brother is doing. Here, Minhai quickly makes up a story, saying the officials gave him a massive reward as a bonus. He wants to take her to the festival today, but she just tells him she will not leave yet, not until she sells every last ice cream they need to save up their money. Minhai offers to help her finish up, promising a nice festival dinner after work. The girl sighs. She suggests her brother should go prepare for his upcoming exams. Instead of wasting time, she mentions that this morning, the entire city was talking about the mysterious hero who saved South Suburbia. She looks at him, asking if her brother had not always wanted to become a superhuman and protect their city. She tells him they should learn from that hero, work hard, and she truly believes that her brother will pass. Talk about ironic, because Minhai quietly tells her that he is that hero. He laughs it off, claiming the doctor ordered him to get some fresh air out here. The young man starts shouting loudly, offering refreshing ice cream to anyone passing by. He tells everyone they have plenty of flavors. Meanwhile, Officer Lu Ling watches from the sidelines, thinking this young man could have easily become famous across the entire city, living like a superstar. Instead, he is just helping his sister, acting like a big kid. Suddenly, his phone rings and our hero picks up. The voice on the other end belongs to Lu Ling, a combat officer for the southern suburbs. She asks him if the young man has finally decided to join their organization. Minhai remembers that his sister has worked tirelessly for years just to support his studies. She always dreamed of him attending a prestigious evolutionary school, so he intends to focus on studying. Once the school opens, he will secure a special enrollment. After graduation, he will gladly accept her offer. Lu Ling replies that their official organization has a similar guild known as Dragon Fang. Its members actually enjoy complete freedom and they usually do not have to worry about constantly defending the city. He can join a legitimate superhuman guild and only help them out during special and emergency situations. This gives him official authority, along with a very handsome annual salary. After all, attending a top evolutionary academy is not cheap. The woman reassures him there is no pressure, leaving the ultimate decision entirely to the young man. He only needs to assist them at least twice a year to receive his guaranteed pay. Minhai agrees, telling Lu Ling she can call on him whenever she needs. Protecting the country is every superhuman's duty after all. She smiles, welcoming him into the ranks of the Dragon Fang from today on, wishing him a great partnership. Minhai immediately tells his sister that he just spoke with a representative from the official organization. He was officially hired and the salary is incredibly high. She does not need to work so hard anymore. Now they can even buy a brand new house. Major win, the excited siblings decide. Celebrating by heading straight to the festival. The girl admits she has never been to a proper seafood fair. Minhai takes his sister shopping and buys her gorgeous new clothes. The brother shows his sister a beautiful house, explaining that while it is only rented for now, they will easily be able to buy it very soon. She smiles, saying she always believed in the best. Then she tells him that if her brother ever meets that mysterious hero, he must thank him on her behalf. After all, she heard he risked his life to save the city, fighting a massive monster. The enemy was far stronger. He could have run, but he stayed to fight to the very end. His body was mangled and bloody, nearly dying so that innocent children could play in the park. Citizens get to live comfortably, enjoying their quiet, peaceful lives because of heroes like him. With peace secured by superhumans, his sister insisted he should thank that savior. Stepping out of the shower, Mingi just scoffs. No need for that. He cannot thank himself. Besides, he believes regular people are worth dying for. Shedding his last drop of blood is worth it. Soon, Mingi begins intense training. Pushing through heavy cardio and strength drills, he builds up his overall endurance. He refines his striking, while the goddess analyzes the mutated doctor's stats. She can simulate 90% of Dr. Jiao's power, perfect for practice. Fighting this phantom is the best way for Mingi to rapidly build his physical stats. He needs proper nutrients because his battle techniques are sharp, but his body is lagging. His current teenage vessel simply cannot keep up with his incredibly fast reflexes. To unleash those legendary shining moon skills, he needs to upgrade his physical vessel. He must reach solar energy rank fast or he will die. Once Mingi reaches that solar tier, he can finally unlock his devastating absolute territory. This ultimate domain pairs with his mysterious fist, an advanced red blacksmith talent. Inside this territory, Dr. Jiao will look weaker than a common insect. He remembers his master's advice about how this technique breaks past all human limits. It grants the power to shatter physical boundaries, making his strikes unbelievably devastating. This transcends ordinary human punches. His blue spirit talent boosts his physical data. It grants advanced blast spirit evolution skills, optimizing his white dust form. Many believe he can now harness fire and wind, prepping his explosive fist for battle. Next is the violet soul talent, which further enhances his physical vessel. It grants advanced evolution skills and unlocks a powerful, hidden secret art. He can now conjure blazing fires, violent thunderstorms, and summon raging tornadoes. These multi-strike star marks are a hallmark of the Red Blacksmith legacy. It integrates advanced evolution skills and unlocks even deeper, more profound secret arts. The goddess notes that absolute territory massively boosts his superhuman power. This directly subverts his opponent's skills, stripping away their natural advantages. They must obey his rules, while the domain multiplies his raw combat potential. It suppresses his opponent's power, leaving them completely vulnerable. Any opponent is forced to obey these rules, but first he must master the basics. Without mastering these vital secret arts, reaching the next tier is purely a dream. These advanced arts demand flawless fist combat skills, meaning he must train relentlessly. Mingi must successfully land 49 strikes on Dr. Jiao, or he will perish. Will his multiple Starfist strike grow even stronger if he unleashes additional blows? The goddess confirms that 49 marks are the bare minimum to trigger this technique. His strikes must be lightning fast, utilizing his environment to gain an edge. Landing precise explosive strikes will quickly multiply his marks during active combat. This makes activating his secret arts effortless. A month later, the siblings say their goodbyes. Mingi reassures his sister, reminding her this is only an exam, not actual war. Meanwhile, at Bingshan inside South City Park, a security guard is on duty. He notes that in all his years here, he has never seen such dense, heavy fog. His colleague chimed in, suggesting that La Wang should remain extremely cautious tonight. No time to waste, they had to keep patrolling since the rising fog made visibility terrible. After wandering through the whiteout for a while, the guards decided to head back. But they still had not reached the outpost. Did they get turned around? La Wang scoffed. He had walked these roads for 10 years without getting lost once. Suddenly, an unfamiliar structure loomed ahead of them through the heavy mist. How on earth did they end up here? His partner muttered in disbelief. They were totally lost. Suddenly, La Wang froze. What was that noise? Before they could guess, a massive shadow lunged straight at them from the dark. "Save me, help me," his partner screamed in absolute terror. Terrified out of his mind, La Wang bolted as a colossal mutant spider crushed his friend. He scrambled all the way to the control room and slammed the heavy door shut. Shaking, he yanked out his phone, desperately trying to call his superiors for help. He glanced around and spotted a woman. "Run, it is dangerous here," he yelled. But she was no human, her body distorted into a grotesque mutant beast. The guard was ripped apart, radiation levels spiked immediately. Temperatures soared to critical levels, while a high-speed train raced through a mountain tunnel. Inside, our main character, Minhai, was chatting casually on the phone with his sister. He smiled, hearing that his buddies were already scouting out a new apartment for him. Nearby, a passenger asked the conductor for a bottle of fresh water. He also wanted to know exactly how much longer until they reached South City. Tanging replied that they still had about an hour of travel time left. She noted that the new semester was starting, prompting the passenger to ask a question. He wondered if that was why she was traveling with her young daughter. Tanging proudly confirmed her daughter, Fan Nayoung, scored top grades on her exams. She got accepted into the elite advanced evolution school, drawing nearby attention. An onlooker smiled, amazed that such a young, beautiful girl was a future hunter. He even politely asked if Fan Nayoung could write a quick blessing for him. He dreamed of entering the academy himself to become a superhuman who protects people. Minhai secretly thought that earning a spot through sheer talent was incredibly impressive. It was way cooler than his own path, getting accepted without even taking an exam. Suddenly, the train screeched to a sudden halt, throwing everyone off balance. A mother near him gasped, almost dropping her baby from the sudden impact. Minhai lunged forward just in time to steady them, while another passenger groaned in pain. People panicked. It was bright and sunny a minute ago, so where did this fog come from? Minhai checked his phone, realizing his signal had completely vanished, along with everyone else's. Squinting through the glass, a passenger tried to peer into the dense, white mist. Suddenly, a little boy tugged his mother's sleeve, pointing out a strange silhouette outside. She sighed and told him to stop making things up since the fog was too thick. But the boy insisted. He had definitely seen a massive shadow moving out there. The intercom clicked on, claiming they were addressing an unexpected delay. She urged all passengers to remain in their seats for their own safety. Grumbles erupted instantly throughout the cabin. No one wanted to just sit around. They wanted real answers, especially since a creepy, uneasy feeling was spreading fast. Minhai stood up, deciding he needed to check out the situation for himself. But the nearby guide quickly blocked him, demanding that he return to his seat. The last thing they need is to cause more trouble, so Minhai asks what happened. Why did the train stop? The attendant replies that they are currently investigating. Minhai immediately shows his ID. He claims he is an advanced evolutionary hunter. If anything dangerous happens, he insists the conductor must tell him everything. She agrees to lead the way, but then Fan Naeung quickly approaches them. She says she is also an advanced hunter and wants to help. Suddenly, the head of security steps forward and makes a shocking announcement. They checked everyone on board. There are absolutely no advanced hunters here. With 0 elite fighters on this train, they are completely on their own. The conductor then leads the 2 youth to the guards as volunteers. She explains they can assist, prompting the security lead to ask their ranks. Minhai and Fan Naeung immediately present their official hunter identification cards. But guard Chiming is instantly disappointed. What a useless pair. He is looking at a mere Starlight trainee and an academy student. There is absolutely no way these 2 rookies can handle the danger outside. But Minhai argues back, doing something is far better than sitting around. The longer they remain trapped on this train, the worse the situation becomes. If they venture out, they might at least find a signal for rescue. The head guard admits the kid is right. He agrees to let them. Chiming is ordered to guide them out, but extreme caution is required. Minhai turns to his companion, firmly telling Fan Naeung to stay behind. She is not even enrolled yet and lacks real evolutionary training. It is far too dangerous, but she immediately refuses to stay. Since he is also just a trainee, she insists on going too. Minhai finally relents, telling Fan Naeung to stay close behind his back. She warns the conductor to lock the doors and keep everyone inside. With that, the group steps out into the eerie fog to explore. Chiming explains that they usually keep searching, even in the heavy fog. But the emergency brakes were pulled because of reports of wild beasts ahead. These monsters might have actually breached the outer defensive fences. Back inside, Tangen, the conductor, anxiously prays for their safe return. Looking out, things take a creepy turn. She spots a lone girl outside. She wonders why any passenger would wander out into such extreme danger. Suddenly, another passenger approaches, demanding to know what is going on. They insist she must have slipped out through one of the other exits. Tangen peers through the glass, completely unable to make out the figure. A frantic passenger asks why she won't open up to the knocking. The girl outside must be absolutely terrified, but Tangen firmly refuses. The hunters strictly warned her not to let anyone inside without them. The train's security system locked the doors immediately, meaning nobody could get out. But the passengers argue it could be a helpless local crying out. They ask how she can be so heartless, ignoring the weeping woman. Tangen stubbornly stands her ground, resolutely insisting that they must wait for the hunters. An angry passenger threatens to force the door open himself unless she does. As the crying outside grows louder, the passenger pushes past her. The conductress was shoved aside and fell. A man scoffed that she asked for it as a crew member. She should be helping others, he grumbled. He opened the door and told the girl to get inside fast. He had a kind heart. The passenger reached out to the stranger, saying he hates seeing girls cry. But the woman waiting outside was far from normal. She was not a helpless person. She was a mutant monster instead. It lunged forward, aggressively attacking the shocked passenger. The man screamed in sheer terror and pain. The mutant beast was ruthless. It dragged the passenger right out of the train, leaving the conductor to witness everything. He wanted to flee toward the passengers, but Tong Xin knew she had to act. She realized that besides her, nobody else could protect the people trapped in this train. The girl rushed back to shut the carriage door, but slimy tentacles suddenly wrapped around her. She screamed and gasped for air, struggling against the tight grip. Yet she still managed to shut the door, only to find herself trapped outside. Inside the carriage, some young men played cards, trying to pass the time. They wondered how long they would stay stuck there, completely oblivious. Her colleague walked over to the closed door, wondering where she had gone. "She is so careless," he grumbled. Outside on the dirt, only her headdress remained. The girl had completely vanished. Meanwhile, the patrol led by Mingi kept moving. They searched the surrounding area, and Mingi insisted on checking the stoppage reason. It could be a landslide, but the soil on both sides was reinforced. Both sides are secured with heavy netting, and there has been no rain for days. A sudden collapse makes no sense. Simple mud could never block these rails. The guard mentioned that if the girl helped them clear it, they could start. They just needed to clear the debris to get the train moving again. Then Mingi spotted a massive footprint in the ground, pointing to a dark truth. Giant beasts had come from here, perhaps even a high-level demon. Looking up, he imagined how giant falling rocks could easily block the railroad. He suddenly noticed they had a phone signal. Officer Lu Ling finally called him. She sounded relieved that Mingi answered. He explained that an incident had occurred. Using geolocation, Lu Ling tracked his coordinates near the Nandu Zio area. Mingi confirmed he was heading there, but got sidetracked by a sudden incident. Thick fog rolled in, making it almost impossible to maintain a clear signal. Train crew is completely cut off from the main headquarters. Still, Mingi reassured her that the train itself was currently safe. Since the road is blocked, they can proceed once they clear it. Lu Ling ordered him to report back immediately once they cleared the path. They must abandon the area immediately before the creepy fog causes major trouble. Mingi questioned what made this fog so dangerous. Lu Ling dropped a warning. She warned that given his low rank, survival in that mist was impossible. He needed to ensure the train was secure and retreat from there immediately. Mingi hurried back down to the guard, demanding they evacuate the site immediately. He explained that the command center just ordered a swift and immediate evacuation. Talking to his companion, he explained he found active cell service further up. That was how he connected, but he also found something far more disturbing. There are giant footprints of a disaster beast nearby, meaning danger is close. The monster likely triggered the collapse while crawling over these very mountains. They say this fog is a high-ranking disaster, keeping everyone on. The train safe is the priority, but on the way back, a guard tripped. He cried out thinking he lost a tooth, but then his scream turned into pure terror. Right next to him lay a shriveled, dried-up corpse, sending him into total hysterics. Minhai and Fan Narang whipped their heads toward the guard in absolute shock. Spotting the grotesque female monster, Minhai grabbed his companion's hand, yelling a warning. The creature let out a chilling cackle and started closing in on them. Minhai firmly ordered his companion to fall back as he prepared to fight. Refusing to leave him, Fan Narang insisted on helping and unleashed her unique power. Minhai urged her to take cover first so they could plan their next move. But Fan Narang protested, pointing out his obvious rank. As a mere Starlight rank trainee, he was barely any stronger than she was. Suddenly, the monster lashed out, binding Minhai tightly in her heavy tentacles. But Minhai simply launched himself high into the air, completely unfazed by her grip. At this speed, he can land a devastating blow, and he does. The crushing impact blasts the monster backward, ripping her tentacles away. Fan Narang is stunned. That strike was way too powerful for a simple trainee. Though thrown far back, the resilient creature recovers instantly, bracing for another clash. Minhai immediately unleashes a relentless barrage of rapid-fire punches at the mutant. The speed is so insane that Fan Narang can barely track his movements. Under the overwhelming force, the beast's outer shell ruptures, revealing a human inside. Could there really be someone trapped inside? Minhai suddenly recognizes the face. It is the train conductor. Without hesitation, Minhai pulls her free from the carcass. She looks completely unresponsive, but he senses a faint, lingering spark of life in her. Gently laying her down, he focuses on saving her, but Fan Narang warns him of danger. She yells that the monster is escaping, but Minhai has other priorities right now. They must save this guide first. She is barely holding on, still breathing. Fan Narang winces at the repulsive, thick slime coating the unconscious girl. Ignoring the disgust, Minhai immediately begins administering mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He keeps up the CPR, rhythmically pressing down on her chest to restart her heart. The train guard rushes over, frantically asking where the terrifying beast fled to. Suddenly, the conductor gasps and coughs, her breathing finally returning as she wakes. Just then, the train doors slide open, and another conductor urges them to get inside. They rush in, checking on Tang Xin, who mutters that she kept the monster out. Minhai gently tells her to rest and explain everything once they are safe. With everyone safely back on board, the train finally begins to move again. But the relief is short-lived, as they only make it through a portion of the fog. Meanwhile, a massive wall of mist rolls into Aichi, and a mysterious figure steps out. Lin Kunyu reports a highly dangerous disaster meteorite was found in the Nandu forest a month ago, though scientists initially claimed it was harmless. No extraterrestrial life was detected back then, with reports only noting dense vapor surrounding the crater, but the situation has escalated dramatically since that day. The cosmic impact has heavily disrupted the nearby Hishan industrial zone. Experts believe we are now dealing with an entirely unknown phenomenon. They call this anomaly the fog, and Lin Kunyu warns it moves chaotically. But most of this phenomenon is centered around the mountain, deep in the foggy wilds. Here, beasts of calamity spawn, vanishing the moment the mist rolls back. Reports suggest some pretty strong creatures are lurking in this territory. There might even be Emperor-class doors waiting to be opened. Lately, the mist has overtaken the railroad hills, so they must move quickly. Finding their way is critical. Lingu inspects a fresh mark on the dirt. He confirms the monster was definitely here, starving after devouring every living thing in sight. Luckily, the population of Ha City had been completely evacuated just in time. Lin Kunyu holds a piece of dropped insect shell, explaining the situation. He explains the train managed to escape, but unfortunately, there were no survivors. The entire industrial area was wiped out, making a fog investigation urgent. Without answers, the body count will rise. Anyone entering that mist vanishes. They instantly lose all direction, as if stepping directly into another dimension. To make matters worse, when the fog lifts, the creatures vanish completely. They leave absolutely no trace behind, but then a sudden breakthrough changed everything. Without this critical event, their research would still be completely stuck. The researcher sends over a photo, showcasing a vital clue found by local entomologists. Their primary subject, a massive centipede, escaped about 6 months ago. Luckily, a GPS chip embedded in its shell led them straight to it. The creature was hiding inside a cave near Hishan, which completely shocks Lin Kunyu. He questions if it is even a normal insect, given its massive size. Since the centipede is hiding deep inside, their teams cannot reach it. Unable to drag the beast out, they had no choice but to leave it. This cave sits right near the Hishan industrial zone, raising serious suspicions. Lin Kunyu suspects this insect lives in the fog, and Liuan agrees with him. She thinks it is the only organism capable of surviving inside that mist. When the bug moved, the entomologist reported the shift right away. Liuan notes that this centipede is their only living witness to the fog. Studying it is their best shot at figuring out what the fog is. Right now, they have absolutely zero information on the fog's interior. Lin Kunyu warns that the creature might have mutated while inside the mist. Suddenly, a nearby witness spots a monstrous centipede looming in the dark. It screeches loudly as it prepares to swallow a helpless wild animal whole. Lin Kunyu finds the nickname ridiculous. While on board the train, guards thank Minhai. They never expected a mere Starlight trainee to possess such incredible power. He clearly has undeniable talent, especially after effortlessly chasing that monster away. But Minhai insists the guide deserves praise, as a breach would be catastrophic. Despite having zero superpowers, she proved to be more valiant than anyone else. Guards readily agree that Tang Xin displayed incredible bravery today. Fame and glory surely await her. Later, leaving the hospital, Minhai reflects. He jokes to himself about having some weird magnet for hospital visits. Suddenly, an unknown number calls, and Minhai answers to see who it is. The girl on the other end asks if he has found any clues. Instantly recognizing her tone, he wonders if this is actually Lu Chen. When he asks how she got his number, Lu Chen reveals she got it from his sister. She heard that Minhai was arriving in the south today. Naturally, she decided to call. But Minhai had bad news. Something unexpected happened, making her ask if. He ran into the cursed fog. Fortunately, he confirmed they crossed it. She wanted answers. She asked where he was, ready to find him. He gave his location. He would wait. Memory lane hit him hard. High school days, he remembered giving her flowers, a simple crush. But she panicked. It was too sudden. She told him she needed more time. A whole year passed, still no reply. Was that her way of saying no? Lu Chen explained to her friend that Minhai finally read her message. He literally agreed to meet her, the exact moment he woke up. Her friend scoffed, pointing out that if all her desperate suitors lined up, it would stretch for miles. How could some high school graduate compete? They are nothing compared to the wealthy masters of South City, but Lu Chen. Lu Chen protested. It wasn't like that. She liked him back then. Her friend rolled her eyes. That was a year ago when Lu Chen was an ordinary, inexperienced student back then. Now she is a school idol. Dating him out of pity is insane, but Lu Chen countered that he was a good guy and nothing else mattered since he came to see her immediately after waking up. She owed it to him to give him a chance. If things fail, she will be honest. However, her friend remained completely unconvinced, arguing that this choice would break a lot of hearts in South City. The region is packed with legendary geniuses. Why settle for some complete failure? He could not even pass the basic entrance exam, so her friend sighed, telling her to just act like his girlfriend without trying too hard. Lu Chen ignored the advice. Minhai was arriving, so she left to go meet him. Her friend scoffed. She only likes powerful, gorgeous guys. Any other guy is basically a frog to her. Meanwhile, at the elite school, Minhai arrived. The grand campus was cooler than expected. He knew he absolutely had to enroll here. The training must be top tier. Suddenly, onlookers spotted Lu Chen. Whispers erupted. She was the undisputed school queen. Rumors claimed a wealthy young heir bought an entire private beach just to gift it to her, but she flatly rejected his massive gesture. Even a powerful, handsome master like He Lin from the top organizations got completely shut down. Yet they finally met. Minhai waved, greeting her with a smile. He admitted he almost didn't recognize her. She had changed so much, becoming stunning. Lu Chen smiled, noting he seemed much more confident. She offered to take a walk and grab some coffee while they caught up. Minhai gladly accepted. Nearby students gasped in disbelief. Was the school goddess actually hanging out with this average guy? Minhai walked beside her, wondering if he should bring up the past. A whole year had slipped by, he figured. She was only buying coffee to cheer him up. Meanwhile, Lu Chen secretly wondered if he wanted to kiss her, but with so many onlookers, he decided staying friends was safer. They finally arrived at the cafe. Every single eye locked onto her. Minhai realized she was basically a superstar here. Lu Chen just smiled, playing down her sudden fame. Everyone remembered her, even Ming. He came to South City to see her. He says he came for a special program, but his real goal lies elsewhere. He wants to join the academy, trying again in this massive southern city. Lu Kaiyan asks where he is staying, and he admits the truth. He has not found a room yet. He still needs to rent something. Seeing her blush, he asks why she is red. Is she sick? She quickly insists she is perfectly fine, then immediately offers her help. If he passes the exam, they will finally become classmates. Imagine that. He completely misses her true feelings, thinking she is only talking about studying. It is just like high school, back when they constantly met in the library. She is gorgeous. Surely she has countless suitors or a boyfriend. Lu Kaiyan suddenly changes the subject, asking if he saw anything in the fog. He did. He encountered a bizarre, terrifying creature hidden in the mist. A tentacled female monster with pale skin and absolute, terrifying strength. He adds that the creature possessed flawless transformation abilities. Through the train window, it looked like a normal, long-haired girl. Lu Kaiyan is stunned. How did he even survive such a deadly encounter? But Minhai smiles, revealing he is an official evolutionary hunter now. Showing his license, he explains he has been training for months. He has refined his skills, hoping to finally pass the exam. They had a promise to keep, and he cannot let himself fail this time. She finally understands. This is why he took so long to find her. He was training relentlessly, holding on to their promise the entire time. And of course, some arrogant jerk just has to ruin the moment. He approaches their table and asks if Minhai even knows the entry bar. It requires the high rank of lunar radiance, which the kid arrogantly displays. Newcomer is Fang Kai, who sneeringly tells Minhai to go practice more. He mocks him, suggesting a reunion with all their old classmates instead. He thinks that would be far better and more fun. But Lu Kaiyan instantly rejects him, saying she wants to be alone. She wants to talk with Minhai and tells him to leave. Minhai agrees, telling Fang Kai that it would be better if he left. Lu Kaiyan's phone suddenly rings, and she tells the loud guy to keep his voice down. Fang Kai is absolutely furious. How dare a complete nobody dismiss him like this? How could that loser even show up at the elite Southern Academy? What makes him think he stands a chance with a star like Lu Kaiyan? After the call, Lu Kaiyan apologizes and says she must leave. Urgent business came up, but Minhai promises they will meet later. Before leaving, she warmly promises she will cheer for him during the exam. A luxury car pulls up to the cafe, and she quickly runs over. She asks what happened to her brother, and the driver explains. They need her lightning control, and they have to hurry. Watching them speed away, Minhai assumes she left with her boyfriend. He decides it is best not to bother her, time to focus on himself. Meanwhile, near the enrollment gates, curious onlookers are already starting to wonder. Wait, didn't enrollment end months ago? A passerby wonders why there are still so many applicants. Someone explains that this is a special exam held every year right after the main one. It is a backdoor for wealthy, powerful kids who failed the regular exam. If they actually had talent, they would have made the cut the first time. An arrogant rich kid asks if he is here for the special trial, and Minhai nods. This smug kid, Pungaling, sneers at our hero's cheap clothes and modest look. Pungaling asks how much cash Minhai's family donated to buy his way in. After all, this is where connections and deep pockets replace actual hard work. Pungaling boasts that his own family easily donated 7 million just to get him a spot. Minhai is genuinely shocked that bribery is so open, but Pungaling just laughs it off. He claims it is impossible to set foot here without a massive donation. Minhai admits he does not know the rules and just wanted to test his skills. But Pungaling scoffs. Skills mean absolutely nothing in a place built for the elite. This playground is for wealthy families, and broke outsiders are definitely not welcome. Minhai mutters to himself, questioning if this entire trial is just a giant scam. Pungaling tells him he is finally catching on. Minhai feels completely hopeless. Pungaling mockingly advises him to work hard, save up some cash, and try again next year. Suddenly, a stern-looking man steps forward to address the gathering crowd of hopefuls. He introduces himself as the head supervisor for this special enrollment session. His name is Yang Jin, flanked by his two assistants, Gi and Shuri. Yang Jin starts calling out names from his list as the applicants anxiously answer. But Pungaling notices the examiner completely skipped one person, Minhai. Yang Jin spots an official recommendation stamp right next to Minhai's name. Minhai speaks up, and Assistant Shuri explains the exam consists of 5 brutal rounds. They will face 4 extreme physical trials before a final, intense combat test. She reveals a heavy power measuring dummy designed to test their raw strength. Different talents face different standards, and Yang Jin calls Minhai up first. Since our hero possesses an explosive-type talent, he will be the first to kick. He needs a kick over 1,500 kilograms just to pass this round. Pungaling chuckles, thinking the school is trying to instantly eliminate this broke kid. Others whisper that the Hunters Association limit was only 1,000 kilograms. Minhai steps up. He delivers a savage kick that completely shatters the dummy. Metal bends, sparks fly. The digital screen locks at 2,200. A stunned Yang Jin speaks. He declares the first test officially over. Because the machine is totally destroyed, everyone else gets a free pass to round 2. Minhai scratches his head, wondering if this exam is actually supposed to be this easy. Assistant Gi whispers to the boss that Minhai is an absolute beast they must recruit. Yang Jin calmly notes that plenty of high-scoring geniuses get weeded out every single year. They simply do not have the capacity to take in every single musclehead. Assistant Shuri agrees, noting that while many students have power, most lack brains. In a real combat scenario, a brainless brawler is just a corpse waiting to happen. Without that powerful recommendation letter, he wouldn't even be standing in this courtyard. So the curator decides they will just raise the stakes to filter him out. Yang Jin raises his voice, announcing that the second phase will begin immediately. This round will test their speed and agility across a massive, open obstacle field. Any applicant caught by a standard red leopard within the time limit will be instantly disqualified. Curator Yangjin orders his assistants to immediately begin the countdown. Yangjin secretly tells the trainer to direct the beast to target Mingi first. He wants Mingi dragged down, then they can take it easy on the others. Because if that creature actually goes all out, nobody stands a chance. With a cold grin, Yangjin signals the start. Instantly, the beast bolts straight toward Pongling. The terrified kid flees, utterly clueless about what is going on, but a sharp whistle from the trainer freezes the leopard. Standing still, it scans the crowd. Mingi figures this creature is pretty average. Definitely nothing he cannot handle. He starts walking away without a care. Then the trainer points a finger directly at Mingi, marking him as the real prey. Low to the ground, the red leopard tenses its muscles to spring. Mingi gets a terrible gut feeling. Why is this cat suddenly radiating so much bloodlust? A deafening roar echoes as he spins around and starts sprinting at full speed. He jokes to himself that this is just a quick 100-meter dash. He weaves through the crowd, hoping the beast will pick a new target. But the plan fails. The cat keeps its eyes locked onto Mingi. Fine then, it is time to show this wild beast what true speed looks like. All those months of brutal training were definitely not for nothing. The crowd gasps. Shocked that any human can move this fast, Assistant Gi notes that Mingi's pace easily exceeds most Moonlight Radiance hunters, but Yangjin remains unimpressed. Speed is great, he scoffs, but speed does not guarantee stamina for the long haul. He still has to survive 15 more minutes. Soon, 10 minutes fly by. Now the leopard can barely drag its paws, completely winded. Mingi looks back, wondering if the beast is already tired when he has barely even warmed up. Since the cat wanted to chase him earlier, it is time to flip the script. If he catches the leopard, he promises to break every bone in its body. When 15 minutes end, Mingi asks to play more while the trainer begs for mercy. Seeing the match end, Curator Yangjin announces that everyone passes this stage. The next round will test their reactions. Assistant Gi quietly points out that Mingi is clearly talented enough to enroll right now, even if this elite class is usually reserved for wealthy benefactors, but Yangjin coldly shuts him down. Cash is king here, and raw strength means absolutely nothing to him. Assistant sure agrees, adding they must maintain extreme standards for this special group. It is quite obvious to everyone that the curator simply despises Mingi. Rich parents line up, bribing Yangjin to secure spots for their kids. But one mysterious visitor pays a hefty sum specifically to keep Mingi out. Happily taking the bribe, Yangjin promises to make the next test impossible. He stands before the group and unveils the next challenge. In front of them stands a bizarre, twisted tree. Assistant Gi explains to the nervous applicants that this strange object is heavily contaminated with radiation, a living weapon. Known as the demon tree, it will not kill them, but a direct hit will leave them in agony. The assistant adds a warning that if the tree gets a taste of fresh blood, it awakens and attacks anything that moves within its territory. Right then, Assistant Sure accidentally cuts his finger, letting a fresh drop of blood drip. Assistant Sure touched the demonic tree with his bloody finger, instantly activating it. Curator Yang Jin explained that everyone who qualified would enter the yellow zone. One applicant dodged with ease, since the tree did not seem fast at all. 5 minutes later, the assistant announced cease passed and called the next candidate forward. Every applicant after that managed to pass the test just as easily. Bai Chengjing figured they barely had to try because the outcome was obvious. Next, Bai Chengjing was called up, but Assistant Sure sliced his hand even deeper. More blood spilled out because the more the demonic tree absorbed, the stronger it got. Hoping to enjoy a brutal beatdown, Sure watched the demonic tree activate for real. The beast lashed out at our hero with a savage, aggressive new pattern. Yet the young man dodged every single blow with effortless, lightning-fast precision. Watching the chaotic frenzy, some wondered if the boy stood any chance at all. The curator noticed the tree could not land a hit, wondering why it was slow. Determined to push things, Assistant Sure sliced his palm even deeper with a knife. As more blood poured out, the tree flew into a wild, terrifying frenzy. It began attacking the young man with sheer, brutal fury. Bai Chengjing realized this was perfect for training his auditory reaction speed. He closed his eyes, leaving onlookers shocked as the heavy branches missed entirely. They wondered why the tree could not hit Bai Chengjing even after 5 minutes. The instructors realized the young man possessed godlike reflexes, and the tree was exhausted. By changing casually remarked that it served as a pretty solid little warm-up exercise. Training against a demonic tree is actually pretty effective, he noted with a grin. Because Assistant Sure was in terrible shape, many other applicants passed as well. Assistant G told Curator Yang Jin that the boy had unparalleled reflex speed. He cleared all 3 exam phases with an absolutely flawless perfect score. Calling him a pure genius, the assistant urged the academy to enroll him immediately. But Curator Yang Jin shook his head, noting they had seen many arrogant geniuses. Special admissions demanded a real exam to weigh all of his cumulative results. Real battle was the only true way to measure a super being's potential. Over in the medical room, Assistant Sure rested his heavily bandaged hand. He sheepishly admitted that he might have overdone it when feeding the demonic tree. Soon, the curator led the remaining applicants into the final testing hall. This phase would measure the exact soul rank of each aspiring super being. On paper, Bai Changjing's super being talent was listed as mere garbage tier white. Bai Changjing wondered why this wasn't held first to save everyone some time. Curator Yang Jin simply smiled, stating that the academy rules were absolutely absolute. When the young man asked if he would go first, the curator shook his head. "You will go last this time," he replied, "since order does not matter anyway." As the assistant prepared to record, Pangling Hoi volunteered to lead the pack. Moments later, the assistant announced that Pangling Hoi possessed a coveted purple soul. The crowd gasped in awe, unable to believe he possessed such rare talent. Soon, every other applicant ended up registering a high-ranking purple soul. Curator Yang Jin quietly reviewed the background files on young Bai Changjing. He had actually attempted this very academy entrance exam last June. Back then, he scored perfectly on the written part, but failed this talent test completely. A white haze meant rejection. Yang Jin explained that such abilities have 0 combat value. With 0 value in battle, Minhai could only wonder what the curator actually meant. Yang Jin pointed out that Minhai was completely missing the most crucial fact of all. Here is the first lesson: superpowers can actually be changed. A special liquid called drops of life, harvested from defeated disasters, can alter those abilities. It completely replaces old powers with brand new ones, whether they are white, blue, or purple. If a person has the wealth and influence, anything can be altered. They can easily undergo this procedure to gain far greater strength. The young man finally understood why all the other applicants had purple souls. Yang Jian added that despite his incredible results earlier, none of it mattered now. Failure here meant total elimination. Minhai quietly recalled the minimum passing rank. A violet soul is required. Basic physical traits like strength and speed mean nothing compared to the terrifying, absolute might of a true superpower. Can Minhai really hope to survive against a purple soul user? These powers unleash destruction far beyond normal human limits. No amount of physical conditioning can stand against that kind of supernatural force. But Minhai pointed out that combining physical training with strong abilities creates ultimate power. For now, his white rank only granted him a tiny boost in luck. The curator scoffed, believing the boy was just humiliating himself. Ignoring the mockery, Minhai stepped forward to continue his test. Assistant Jai noted that the boy did indeed possess active superpowers. When the testing orb flared with color, the crowd gasped in absolute shock. Minhai had a purple soul. Yang Jin insisted this was completely impossible. Their files showed a white haze, but Pengling reminded them that powers can be changed. The comic goddess smiled, noting it was highly intelligent of him to hide his strength. In this dangerous world, there is no need to flaunt your true power to everyone. Minhai calmly announced that he had passed the test with a perfect score. While Assistant Jai praised his talent, Yang Jin warned him not to get cocky. The final challenge still lay ahead, a brutal combat test to prove his worth. The exam was postponed slightly, leaving Yang Jin incredibly frustrated by this unexpected turn. He suspected the boy came just to ruin his plans. Assistant Zhu agreed. This transfer student was supposed to be elite, but was only causing trouble. Just then, a senior student entered the room, offering to help with the exam. He heard they needed a challenger for the special enrollment combat test. Assistant Jai recognized him as Fang Kai, a star student who enrolled last year. He ranked 3rd in his class and has been training nonstop ever since. But matching him against a rookie seemed completely unfair. Assistant Zhu disagreed. She argued that special enrollment demands the absolute strictest testing standards. Fang Kai proudly mentioned he was currently ranked 10th among all sophomores. Hearing this, Yang Jin smiled. Down in the arena, Pengling watched the crowd gather. The match drew massive attention, with many spotting Lu Qin in the stands. Whispers quickly recalled she already had a partner. Assistant Jai stepped forward. The combat test was entirely open, allowing students from any academy to spectate. Yang Jin pointed out that keeping this public prevented any accusations of bias. Assistant Zhu stepped up to officially announce the match. The matchups are set: Minhai versus Fang Kai and Pingling versus Jianging. Whispers echo through the crowd as spectators call Fang Kai the absolute strongest second-year student around. Everyone is cheering for him, chanting that he is already the greatest. Fang Kai smirks, telling Minhai it is quite a coincidence to face an old classmate. It is the school's decision, and he has absolutely no choice but to destroy his old classmate. Minhai shrugs, he will not hold back either. The fight explodes. Fang Kai roars, declaring himself a true wind-controlling berserker. He spins like an absolute maniac, using rapid motion to build up a massive amount of centrifugal force. The strike launches, but Minhai stands his ground, completely unfazed. Minhai mutters that those earlier tests were just a pretty good warm-up anyway. He is ready to play. This only makes Fang Kai absolutely furious. He calls Minhai a piece of trash who already failed the entrance exams. A worthless dropout carrying bricks at construction sites, dreaming of being strong. How dare a manual laborer act so arrogant here at South City High? Minhai looks at him and asks, why even fight me then? Fang Kai sneers that he is only here because of a direct order. But Assistant Zai whispers a secret. Fang Kai actually begged for this match. Fang Kai snaps back, if I say you fail this recruitment exam, you fail. Minhai sighs, realizing this guy only showed up to ruin his day. Fang Kai screams his hatred. Who does this absolute nobody think he is? The Super Evolution Academy is sacred. Trash like him does not belong here. Go back to hauling junk, carrying bricks, and washing greasy dishes. Minhai smirks. He finally understands what kind of person he is dealing with. Nothing changes. Today, Fang Kai is the examiner, demanding absolute submission. He demands Minhai drop to his knees and beg for his life. Minhai smiles. He has wanted to thrash this guy for a very long time. He was too poor to pay for medical bills before, but this is an exam. No hospital bills are on him today. Fang Kai boasts about his top 10 rank. Who cares about rank? He lunges forward with a sudden strike. Fang Kai triggers his second stage wind acceleration, leaping high. Hovering above, he laughs. How can an earthworm ever touch him up here? Heavy fists mean absolutely nothing when you cannot even reach your target. But Minhai simply quiets his mind, channeling a powerful spiritual technique. A massive fist made of solid sand rises, smashing directly toward the sky. The crowd gasps. Does a top 10 student really get swatted down this easily? Defeated by a guy who was not even accepted into the academy. Absolute madness. No wonder he is dating a beauty like Lu Qin with that strength. Fang Kai staggers back to his feet, growling about his true hidden ability. His wind magic thrives on absolute fury. The angrier he gets, the stronger it flows. Minhai actually pushed him far enough to unlock this devastating form. Everyone watches in absolute dread as Fang Kai prepares to unleash his killer move. He activates the forbidden purple soul technique, an incredibly terrifying sight. Assistant Zai turns to mentor Yang Jin, asking how this is allowed. Using a deadly, forbidden skill during a simple recruitment exam is pure madness. Minhai braces himself. Is this really his opponent's ultimate hidden trump card? To him, this technique was completely insignificant, Assistant sure pointed out that purple soul talents are incredibly diverse. Meanwhile, Fang Kai's wind Berserk is deadly. Same rank stand no chance. Minhai is doomed. No hope, Assistant Gi agreed, saying Minhai is in danger. Pingling screamed to run before the storm devours him, but Minhai just decided to offer his opponent some free advice. Win at all costs, he said. Even forbidden secret moves. No need to look so pathetic and helpless. Fang Kai sneered. He wanted to play nice, but now he was going to put him in a hospital bed. Minhai unleashed a tornado fist, sending his opponent flying back. Fang Kai was completely neutralized, crashing down. Unconscious, Minhai explained that his mystic fist absorbs raw energy. Even his opponent's wind. After waking up, Fang Kai asked in shock how a basic spiritual technique could shatter his most prized secret move. Minhai shrugged. If he had actually used a real secret technique, there would be nothing left of him. He just spared his former classmate. Pingling noted that Minhai only recently passed his purple soul rank test, yet with zero secret techniques, he easily crushed the sophomore. Pingling smirked, noting that if garbage like him is in the top 10, they will easily conquer South City. Minhai casually remarked that there are plenty of real geniuses in town. Not everyone is that weak. Assistant Gi whispered to curator Yang Jin, rejecting Minhai would cause massive public backlash. His combat ability is absolutely astounding. Minhai then asked the mentor if he was finally an honor student. Yang Jin warned the kid to lose the arrogance. The academy never lacks wealth or power, but Minhai told the curator to think about it. If rumors spread, people might assume Fang Kai entered the top 10. Using dirty connections, that would look terrible for the school's reputation. Minhai is the perfect shield. Yang Jin reluctantly congratulated him on officially joining the Southern School of Super Evolution, but a guy needs to stay humble, work hard, and respect the master. Then Yang Jin asked who was going to pay Fang Kai's medical bills. He illegally used a secret technique in a student duel. If he broke rules, nobody pays. And nobody pays. Fang Kai claimed he had enough money. Pingling laughed, saying she has met proud idiots, but paying medical bills for pure pride is a first. Pingling waved goodbye, saying her father prepared a huge celebration, so she was leaving first. Waving at Minhai, she reminded him that as a newcomer, he probably knows nothing about South City. If he adds her on WeChat, she will happily be his guide. Minhai asked for directions to the dorms. The girl smiled, saying she was heading there too so they can walk together, but Liu King interrupted. She went to high school with Minhai and will guide him. She thanked the girl for her enthusiasm, then lied that his phone is completely broken and currently being repaired. Undeterred, the girl asked if she could get his number, but Liu King claimed his SIM card is also totally fried, destroying any chance of contact. Minhai stared, asking how she knew about his phone, since his old one was totally trashed. Liu King noticed how proactive the student was. She asked if Minhai had passed the test with flying colors. The young man replied that he simply did his best. He never expected his opponent to be a former classmate. Liu King asked if Fang Kai had bullied Minhai at the very first opportunity. Minhai remarked that although Fang Kai seemed cold on the outside, he was actually quite gentle. Liu King congratulated Minhai on his victory, happy to see him succeed. They were finally classmates again, just like back in the good old days. Minhai was finally starting his long-awaited and well-deserved school life. With the grass training arena unlocked, our hero could now practice his skills. As he walked through the busy student streets, he decided to visit the old library. In this place, every single superhuman possessed a unique talent built on different foundations. Teacher Zong explained that superhuman talents were categorized into 5 distinct ranks. These ranks were White Haze, Blue Spirit, Purple Soul, Red Mage, and Black God. Fenying stepped up to explain that those with the white rank possessed basic physical enhancements. With hard work and consistent training, they could easily push past normal human limits. These basic physical traits included core things like raw strength, speed, and accuracy. But historically, even these enhanced physical limits always had a hard ceiling. However, Teacher Zong pointed out that many modern superhumans had shattered those old limits. Because this tier forms the foundation, researchers officially call it the physical rank. Naturally, different individuals within this rank develop unique specializations. One student might be incredibly fast, while another is exceptionally strong. In this school, they generally test for 4 key physical attributes. These are raw strength, speed, reaction time, and actual combat skills. To get admitted, a student must clear the minimum score in at least one category. Curious, one of the students spoke up and asked the teacher a question. His friend had a white rank with incredible stats, so why did he fail the exam? Teacher Zong smiled, saying they were just about to address that exact mystery. Since they all came from South City School, they should already know about blue spirits. Even so, the teacher decided to go into much deeper detail about this tier. Blue spirit users do not just have physical boosts like the White Haze rank. They also wield unique abilities. Can anyone show a safe demonstration right now? A brave female student stepped forward to show the class what she could do. Her specific talent was bright light, a classic example of a blue spirit ability. Teacher Zong warned the classroom to shield their eyes before she began. But wait, if they all closed their eyes, how would they witness the magic? So he asked if she could dial down the blinding intensity of her light. The girl confidently nodded, saying she had full control over her output power. Yet the moment she unleashed it, even the instructor had to squeeze his eyes shut. The room was filled with a brilliant, explosive flash of pure spiritual energy. Teacher Zong explained that blue spirits have these amazing special traits. These types of active powers are officially known as explosive abilities. They can unleash massive burst damage and inflict unexpected status effects on enemies. Mastering a blue spirit talent requires deep comprehension and constant practice. Using these burst moves drains a massive amount of stamina and mental focus. Because of this, blue spirit users easily outclass white haze fighters in combat. Still, they can train their physical stats. A student raises their hand. He asks Teacher Zong what he knows about purple spirits. Zong explains that those who reach the violet soul rank possess far more than just powerful physical traits. A student notes how rare this rank is in their school. Zong agrees, explaining that different high-level techniques require very specific activation conditions. Some even force the user into life-threatening danger to wake up. Sometimes various skills link together, creating a massive chain reaction of raw power. Think of it as a multiple reinforcement system. The instructor then mentions he managed to secure a classified recording of a special combat exam in this footage. A highly classified secret technique is on full display. Now they get to watch. He warns everyone to pay close attention. In the video, the fighter's face is censored due to a lack of security clearance, and some audio has been cut. Watching this, Minhai sighs in relief. This means his secret identity stays perfectly safe. Still, seeing these elite students fight is both terrifying and incredibly thrilling. It looks like a miniature natural disaster. Meanwhile, classmate Fan Nairong finds him familiar. Teacher Zong points out that this particular student possesses a combat wind talent. Earlier in the match, he utilized a wind whip and a specialized wind kite. These wind-based techniques rely heavily on the environment to build up their pressure. Therefore, the secret technique can only activate once the gales reach a certain intensity. Minhai realizes that if he destroys that kite, Fongai cannot use his technique. That would make ending the entire battle a whole lot easier for him. Another student gasps, terrified that the raging tornado will tear someone to shreds. Who could possibly survive a hit like that? But then, the unbelievable happens. Is this guy in the video even human? A single punch just shatters the vortex. He is a human hurricane. After class, Fan Nairong walks straight up to Minhai. She asks him directly if those were his fists in the classified video. Minhai claims everything was too blurry to see. Why on earth would she think it was him? The girl points out that back on the train, he was not even enrolled yet. Yet now Minhai is sitting right beside her in class. There is only one explanation. He must have entered through special recruitment. The young man simply shrugs, saying, plenty of students get in that way, but Fan Nairong vividly remembers him punching that monster back in the thick fog. Minhai just smiles and retorts that lots of famous heroes fight with their fists, even Saitama does it. Meanwhile, news broadcasts report that astronomers have spotted a meteor entering the atmosphere. It is heading straight for the southern city's Shio Ridge. Every resident must evacuate immediately, and all combat commanders must brace for war. Support units are ordered to seal off the zone and mobilize reinforced elite squads. Suddenly, a phone rings. A voice asks Fan Nairong if she heard the urgent alert. Since she just joined the academy, she has been assigned to the rear guard. Meanwhile, Lulin informs Minhai that the threat in the mountains is massive, consisting of well over 1,000 alien beasts, while the vanguard does its job. The Dragon Fang group expects our hero to stay on standby for emergencies. Minhai asks what exactly they will need him to do out there. Lulin replies that their unit only deploys for extreme crises. Over the next few days, Minhai prepares for the worst. The rules were strict: no engaging in battles, leaving South City, or taking outside requests. Minhai heads back. Inside the dorm, he catches a fragment of their chat. A student asks why someone is acting so arrogant. Chung Yunin chimes in. Is he really just a simple member of the reinforced rear guard? Wang Jie tells them not to worry. After all, they are all neighbors here. Besides, the rear guard gets special privileges. Spotting Minhai, they call out a greeting. Minhai apologizes for being late and asks what the big topic of discussion is. What is this rearguard business anyway? Wangja breaks it down. With astronomers predicting disaster, the local organizations step in. Hunters associations handle it, but if a threat exceeds rank 5, things change. Every single organization must send elite reinforcements to suppress the danger. Minhai mentions his hometown was peaceful, with absolutely no major disasters. But get this, all southern neighborhoods are closely connected. They are all under the direct thumb of South City, Wangju explains. Since their school leads the regional forces, earning a rearguard slot is prestigious. But Zhang Yuan scoffed, saying a simple support guard is nothing to brag about. They would probably freeze if they even saw the shadow of a monster. He proudly adds that his brother, Zhang, is fighting on the dangerous front lines. Zhang actually stands at the meteor craters, facing those terrifying beasts face to face. To him, the support crew just cleans up after the real heroes. Wangja is completely amazed, praising Zhang Yuan for having such a powerful brother. He heard frontline elites get massive luxury apartments all to themselves, Zhang Yuan points. He gestures toward the sleek, modern high-rise building right next door. Another student mentions seeing their top goddess heading over there earlier. If she lives in those high-end dorms, she must be a frontline elite. This gets Minhai curious, so he asks who this legendary goddess is. Wangja looks shocked, explaining that everyone knows the 3 ultimate school beauties. Since the newcomer is clueless, Wangja decides to give him a quick rundown. First up is the ultimate cold and distant ice princess, Tang Ning. Then comes martial saint, Fan Lingling, and finally lightning princess, Lu Qin. Minhai raises an eyebrow, asking why their titles sound so incredibly dramatic. Wangja explains that the student body voted based on their elemental talents. Anyone who has witnessed them fight knows those titles are perfectly accurate. Minhai casually mentions that he actually used to be classmates with Lu Qin. Zhang Yuan immediately scoffed, refusing to believe a single word of it. He calls Minhai out, saying she is way out of his league. But Minhai insists it is true. Zhang Yuan warns him to quit lying. Brushing off the jealousy, Minhai heads back to his room to practice meditation. Inside his mind space, he asks his system guide who his opponent is. The guide stretches, stating that the mutated Dr. Zhao is no match anymore. He needs a real challenge. Suddenly, Minhai is transported to an open arena. A formidable new virtual fighter stands before him, offering a quick warning. He warns Minhai to stay sharp, because punches and kicks do not care. But the young warrior easily slips past the opening strike with perfect grace. Compared to his previous simulations, this opponent is basically a simple warm-up. Over in the third zone, intense close-quarters combat training is underway. A girl, dressed in red, clashes fiercely with a massive white beast. She launches a sharp kick, sending the white beast flying backward. Flat on its back, the beast groans that it was only a sparring match and begs her to go easy. Martial Saint Fungling ignores him, calling for her next challenger, but absolutely no one wants to step up. Against her, the girl sighs, complaining she hasn't even broken a sweat. An older man on the podium laughs, saying that with her monster strength, it's basically like bullying children. Doesn't Fungling realize why everyone calls her the martial saint, but she shrugs it off, completely uninterested in flashy titles. All she really wants is to get a proper warm-up, but there is not a single challenge here. The man notes her terrifying growth rate, but then he spots a promising student in the first training zone. He looks pretty tough, so they should go check him out, Fungling says. She does not care, claiming she lost interest, yet her eyes still drift toward the fighters in the neighboring zone. Intrigued, Fungling walks right up to the edge of the field and announces she has changed her mind. The martial saint points out the winner of the last bout has impressive footwork. Maybe he lasts 3 minutes against her. Her companion smiles, betting the guy will last even longer than that. Fungling immediately wagers he won't survive past 3 minutes. She promises that if she loses, she will finally practice that special technique he keeps pushing. With the bet set, she approaches Minhai and challenges him. Our hero gladly accepts. As the spar begins, Fungling instantly launches a fierce strike. The young man cleanly dodges it. The girl smiles, impressed by his sharp reflexes. Minhai quickly realizes she is incredibly skilled too. Their fierce clash yields no clear upper hand. Fungling admits that the young man is incredibly strong and she completely underestimated him. Minhai smiles and says he felt the exact same way about her. As the battle intensifies, Minhai decides to go on the Fensive, immediately activating his shadow step skill. Now she must create some distance to regain control. Minhai activates his second degree. Acceleration skill, moving so fast the crowd loses track of them. How can anyone fight at this insane speed? Seriously, these skills are on another level. Suddenly, Uncle Ewan answers a call and tells Fungaling that they have an urgent emergency mission. As the fight stops, the shocked crowd whispers that this is indeed the legendary martial Saint Fungaling. Their goddess is truly on another tier. The girl tells her rival she has some urgent business to handle, but they will absolutely finish this fight next time. She trains here every Wednesday morning. Minhai gladly accepts, sealing their promise. As they head out, the curious girl asks Uncle Ewan for the student's name, hoping he can look into him. Meanwhile, Minhai realizes that if even a random girl at South School is this unbelievably strong, he must push himself much harder. Soon, the television news reports that thanks to the tireless defense forces, the devastating Red-Eye disaster has been fully wiped out. This finally allows the citizens of Shio Ridge to return to their homes. The broadcast gives special praise to 13 heroic students from South School who bravely destroyed the monster nest. Seeing this, student Yang Yuan points at the television screen, excitedly boasting that his older brother is the one being interviewed right now. Wangja grins, declaring that he wants to be famous on the news like that someday. The whole school is buzzing. Zhang Yuan asks Lemon for updates. After all, Lemon doesn't even have the proper qualifications for the front lines. Lemon snaps back, feats, his brother has plenty. What does Zhang Yuan have to do with those achievements? Wangja intervenes, telling Zhang Yuan to stop stressing and calm down. They are neighbors anyway. Then Wangja asks the group if they have packed their gear yet. Wilderness training is coming, complete with intensive military combat simulations. Zhang Yuan completely forgot, realizing all freshmen must actually participate. Minyu is ready. Meanwhile, teacher Zhang announces the new training plan. But watch out, this newly released training plan is incredibly dangerous. The exercises are fully coordinated with authorities, targeting the infamous Shio Ridge. Students complain instantly, wondering why they have to go to Shio Ridge. That area is crawling with nasty bugs, worms, and endless mosquitoes. Plus, they must live on a farm where brutal fighting just ended. Teacher Zhang clarifies they aren't going there for some relaxing vacation. Monsters from the Shio Ridge disaster left eggs that are scattered everywhere. Those eggs hatch and grow at an absolutely terrifying breakneck speed. Even if the adults were wiped out, those leftover pests are highly lethal. Since the students aren't ready for real society yet, they get sent in. They are being deployed for cleanup, which immediately prompts one student to complain. Why do they always get stuck doing the absolute dirtiest chores? Teacher Zhang shoots back, explaining that Shio Ridge must be fully secured. As superhumans, they have a sworn duty to step up and protect civilians. Any unkillable beasts, report them to school immediately. Zhang Yuan asks if taking down a wounded creature yields extra reputation. Wangja snorts, telling him they lack the actual experience to fight. They should focus on much easier targets first, avoiding major danger. Teacher Zhang notes that their class still hasn't chosen a proper representative. He heard that Fen Narong has amazing reviews from the officials. She seems like the most logical person to nominate right now. Unless there are any objections, Fen Narong will represent their class. Now they must prepare for the trip. Minyu notices some missed calls. They are from Lu Chen, so he dials her back and mentions class just ended. Lu Chen says she's lounging at a cafe and invites him over. Minyu agrees. Hearing a woman, Wangja asks if he's taken. He quickly laughs it off, clarifying that she is just a classmate. Zhang Yuan teases him, pointing out how sweet her voice sounded just now. Minyu shuts it down, explaining that she already has a boyfriend. But get this, Wangja still finds it highly suspicious that she's inviting him. He asks for her name, wondering if she's his imaginary friend, Lu Chen. Lu Chen, exactly. Minyu laughs, confirms it, and says his goodbyes. Saying goodbye, he quickly hands his heavy textbook over to Wangja to carry. He wants him to return it. Wangja suggests following him. Zhang Yuan instantly agrees. Lemon, however, calls it boring and leaves. Wangja drags Zhang Yuan along anyway, determined to spy. They had to hurry or they would miss Minhai. They were curious to see his expression. The look on Minhai's face when he sat before her. When they finally met, our hero spoke. He told Lu Chen that he had witnessed her own teacher praising her, but she Luchin replied that her group leader was 100 times cooler, and she was just there. To keep an empty spot warm, Minhai then asked if Luchin had hurt herself. She said she was fine, leaving Minhai to wonder if something was wrong. Why did she call him out? The girls silently vowed to never call him again. Wait, isn't this a date? Why does he talk so weirdly? Luchin quickly redirected the conversation. The rookies are starting training soon, and the higher-ups want her to assist. Teacher Zong during the trip. Luchin agreed, adding that when the time came, she would ride with the freshmen to Shio Ridge. Meanwhile, two spies, watching them closely, realized that Luchin was indeed Minhai's classmate. Minhai happily noted that he would see Luchin much more often now. She then asked if Minhai wanted to watch a movie with her. She had been fighting at the front for 10 days, and her roommate suggested she relax and go see. Wangja was utterly shocked that a literal goddess was inviting him. To the movies, our clueless hero just agreed, saying this is the reward for working hard. He recommended a comedy called Happy Show, since its ratings were off the charts. Luchin asked if Minhai had any plans. The guy replied that he had nothing on his schedule besides practicing. The girl then expressed her hope that Minhai would keep her company. He agreed, leaving the onlookers baffled. How could a literal goddess act so incredibly humble before him? Minhai added that his friends called him workout obsessed, so he really needed to unwind. Honestly, Wangja could not accept this. She had called him out, invited him to a cafe, and now she was practically begging Minhai for his time. At Shio Ridge, the students finally arrived. The locals warmly welcomed the freshmen for their help, offering them sweet fruits as a token of gratitude. Fu Narang called out, telling Minhai that the instructor was looking for him. He should head up front, where Vice Dean Ding Mong and Principal Shu waited. Both oversaw the combat class. Our hero greeted them, and Ding Mong mentioned that some instructors were looking for Minhai, so he should go see them. Suddenly, Commander Liuling waved and called to him. Minhai got excited upon seeing her. Commander Liuling mentioned she came to this southern school every year to train the newcomers, though it was always pretty exhausting. Minhai asked if she had any special instructions. She replied that she was there to prepare the freshmen, forcing them to fight in the wild and survive. It would also provide security. Commander Liuling added that she was one of the very few who knew about Minhai's secrets. As a member of their organization, he could easily be an instructor. For these rookies, she knew he probably wanted to just enjoy his peaceful student life, so she would not interfere. But before he left, she had to clarify a few things she had left out. Since their members operate independently, she had to formally tell him his official rank. Commander Liuling promised she would never put him in a trash team. Plenty of rare talents try everything to get in, but they always fail, even to fulfill the basic requirements. Now, the zone instructors, the school, and everyone stationed in the rear must follow Minhai's direct orders and protect him. This young man holds a B-rank status. Even the frontline soldiers in his sector are strictly ordered to prioritize his safety. Lulan also added that whenever Minhai is active, the entire area falls under his authority. The commander announced they have two primary objectives, starting with keeping the students safe. This requires absolute focus, and though Minhai is still just a rookie with the elite Dragon Fang organization, his help is crucial. Minhai replies that he would gladly protect them even if he were not a member. But what is their second assignment? Lu Ling answers that it is far too early for him to hear about it. When the right moment arrives, he will be briefed on everything. The commander then tells Minhai that he can return to his classmates now. His ties to Dragon Fang must remain a total secret, which suits Minhai just fine since he prefers staying in the background. Soon after the class arrives, a girl expected a cozy farm, but instead they are dumped right in the middle of the brutal wilderness of the Shia Range. How are they supposed to sleep in these flimsy tents? Signal bars are completely dead. How can they survive out here without TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube? Teacher Zong steps in, explaining that camping is a crucial survival skill. Every student must take these field lessons incredibly seriously. Meanwhile, Minhai sets up his own shelter and decides to lay down some repellent. Instructor Juch spreads ash along the perimeter, explaining that this boundary keeps wild beasts away. Beast senses are incredibly sharp, and they are terrified of fire. If they catch a whiff of ash, they will not dare come close, but the kids must ensure the ashes are totally cold to avoid starting a forest fire. Still, the students boast that they are superhumans. Why should they fear normal woodland creatures? Instructor Juchai warns them that if a beast devours mutated prey, it can mutate and grow. In fact, they once ran into a 10-meter bear that way. Now, since they are in a massive group, they should be fine, but when they split into smaller squads on a mission, following orders is mandatory. It might just save their lives. Later, as they crowd around the campfire, a female student asks Lu Ling if she has any terrifying real-life encounters to share. The veteran agrees to tell them about the nightmarish raid of the Beast Emperor, even miles away from that legendary monster. Everyone instantly realized it was as massive as a mountain. The entire population watched as doom slowly closed in. Today, the city lies in absolute ruins, serving as a massive nest for those monsters. Thankfully, they evacuated every single citizen in time. Wide-eyed, a student asks what rank that emperor was. Lu Ling answers that it held a devastating royal rank. The kid wonders if a mere human could ever defeat such a god. Lu Ling quietly replies that they lost their strongest fighters back then, including their very own dean. Hearing this, teacher Zhang announces that it is time for lights out. Tomorrow brings a brutal, day-long battlefield cleanup mission. Morning arrives quickly. The instructors order everyone to assemble into 10 distinct squads based on their academic classes. A girl eagerly suggests that they do some quick warm-ups first and then head back for breakfast. They must treat this drill with utmost seriousness. Anyone falling behind gets nothing but plain steamed beans. All to themselves, warns teacher Molan. Fortunately, the students think this task is a breeze since these are superhumans. Their physical power is far from weak. Mialan adds that the teachers and assistants will bring up the rear, and anyone who falls behind has to follow them to pass the warm-up. Then, Mialan declares it is time to start and immediately bolts forward, rapidly building speed. The students scramble after their teacher, but keeping up with her is no easy task. She is incredibly fast, leading them across mountains and down toward the rushing rivers. Mialan leads the charge as the elite group of students struggles to keep pace. Suddenly, the students wonder why their teacher suddenly stopped when they could still keep running. Mialan points out that only 4 students managed to keep up. The rest are lagging far behind, so these frontrunners deserve a quick break. The top 4 are Lindong, Liman, Minghe, and Fan Naoung. She notices that Minhai did not even break a sweat. Eventually, the lagging students catch up, and Lindong grumbles that they have been waiting 5 minutes for everyone, but Mialan says that since most of them are here, they will keep pushing. The next stop of their training is the camp. Mialan announces that while breakfast is being prepared, they can finally rest. Fan Naoung remarks that although they are highly capable kids in each squad, adapting to this brutal pace is still incredibly tough. Lehman replies that it has to be this hard, since the finest talents in the city are gathered here. Wangjia adds that everyone admitted to South School belongs to the elite top 3 ranks. Another student asks where these top prospects are from, and Lehman replies that he is a local, while Fan Naoung is from Lenyang. Minhai chimes in that he is from there too. After breakfast, Mialan asks if they actually memorized their morning route, because now they must map it out. They cannot afford to miss a single hollow tree, burrow, or hidden cave. Every single mutant egg must be destroyed, and if they spot a red monster, they are strictly forbidden from acting alone. Instead, they must retreat and fire a flare so Mialan can find them. The instructor warns that the results of this training directly impact their final grades. Trust me, they will have to work incredibly hard to pass. Wangjia suggests they split into groups and pick their search directions. Lehman mentions spotting thick bushes downstream earlier, noting that red-eyed monsters love damp, overgrown spots. Another student comments that Lehman is incredibly sharp to notice that while running on pure exhaustion. Wangjia agrees that searching blindly is useless, so they must target the river lowlands first. Before long, the students are pushing through dense, towering brush. When someone tries using a spirit technique to clear the path, Minhai warns that using loud spiritual arts in the wild is a bad idea. Lehman offers to clear the path manually instead. Minghe quietly asks Fan Naoung if the instructor mentioned any mutated beasts lurking nearby, warning that too much noise might let them escape. Minghe says it should be fine, since the academy usually secures these zones beforehand. Besides, teacher Mialan is a master navigator who knows this terrain like the back of her hand, taking different routes back and forth. In fact, while the students slept, the instructors swept the entire path. Once more, Fan Naoung wonders why they got this chore, but Minhai explains that these eggs are too tiny for standard cleanup crews to detect. They just couldn't find them all. Minhai explains these eggs look exactly like untraceable snake eggs. Even advanced trackers can't detect them. Suddenly, a red-eyed mutant appears nearby. It watches them from a tree, but the alert students spot it instantly. Pushing deeper into the dark woods, they stumble upon a massive pile of eggs. Fang Nayoung warns her classmates that they were just attacked by the beast. It tried to ambush them, then it bolted in the opposite direction. Lemian demands to know where it went, thinking this is their ticket to glory. Catching it would be huge. It can't have gone far, but tracking it is tough. If it hides in the thick brush, they'll need their instructors to stay safe. Lai Min scoffed, is anyone actually scared of a basic mutant? Taking it down means earning the highest exam score, but Minhai objects. He warns them that this thing is way too fast and incredibly smart. Wandering off alone is a death wish, so they need backup right now. Lai Min sneers, is Minhai really that terrified of a single beast? How will he ever survive a real fight? Fang Nayoung backs Minhai up. Fine, Lai Min snaps, go run and tell an assistant teacher then. Minhai agrees and immediately rushes off to report the creature's hiding spot. But just as he delivers the news, a desperate scream echoes nearby. He whips around and charges straight toward the sound of terror. Meanwhile, the assistant alerts the head teacher about trouble in the red zone. A red-eyed mutant is loose, and students might already be dead. Minhai slides into the clearing, facing down the massive red-eyed beast. He doesn't hold back for a second, tearing the monster to shreds. But he warns the others to stay sharp, the area is crawling. There is a hidden cave nearby that the previous squad completely missed. Just then more screams ring out, and Minhai pushes forward without hesitation. He tells himself he is so close, he can still save them. He reaches a clearing swarming with mutants, yet the begging continues. That's when Minhai spots a colossal beast and realizes the sickening truth. It's mimicking human voices to bait him. He has to kill it fast. If he doesn't, Fang Nayoung and Lemian will walk right into this trap. But the realization comes too late. The ground beneath him gives way. Minhai plummets into a massive underground cavern, surrounded by thousands of eggs. The nesting beasts have been hiding right under their noses this entire time. Back above ground, Instructor Ling reports a sudden, heavy fog rolling in. Meanwhile, the assistant confirms the students stumbled onto the main nest. Morning mist is normal out here, but this fog feels dangerously wrong. Ling immediately orders a full evacuation for all the trainee groups. The instructors move fast, desperately trying to close the gap in time. They intercept a panicked student who confirms Minhai and the others are trapped. They are stranded deep inside the deadly red zone and need to stick together. Malin assures them that rescue is coming, but they must prioritize safety first. The emergency command to evacuate Shio Ridge comes down right about now. But Malin shouts that they can't escape, they are completely pinned down. They are trapped near the nest, prompting Zhang to make a desperate move. A terrifying threat is closing in on Shio Ridge, forcing the commander to order an immediate and hasty retreat. As Malin warns, this disaster level is easily above. 6 points, evacuate now, or else the irreparable happens. Liu Hen steps in, insisting she will stay to save the students. Her colleagues must gather all the remaining groups and flee, while down in the pit Minhai prepares to fight off the swarms of approaching red-eyed monsters. Luan screams out, desperate to find Minhai in this blindingly thick fog. But the brave young hero shouts back from the pit that he is completely fine and safe, telling Lucian to stay put since the vines are already chewed through. Watch your step because a single slip means falling into the abyss. Lucian realizes Shio Ridge is fully covered in mist. Up top, Commander Lu Ling orders everyone to evacuate. This fog is lethal, and it will easily claim the lives of everyone inside Shi Park. Minhai signals he is alive, but the other students are trapped inside the red-eyed mutant's nest, but he plans to rescue them so they can all escape together. Now our hero completely focuses on the massive red-eyed beast ahead. The monster mimics human voices, digging deep holes to trap its prey. Minhai instantly recognizes the massive beast, but watch out, the cowardly pack leader is hiding behind a shield of smaller snakes, waiting for him to weaken. It is waiting for Minhai to tire out before striking, but our young hero is much smarter. He charges the beast, declaring its pathetic plan a complete and utter failure, and warns his hideous opponent to get ready to taste his absolutely devastating, crushing fist. The boss flies backward, smashing into its own nest eggs and destroying them. Countless red-eyed snakes instantly swarm around him, but Minhai is completely and utterly unfazed. No obstacle can stop him. He ruthlessly slashes every single approaching serpent. Harnessing his unique energy, he knows the mutant boss is done for. The giant beast takes critical, crushing damage from his explosive attack. Examining the fog, Minhai realizes these eggs are not normal offspring. They contain alien parasites that feed off moisture to produce this mist. This toxic, unnatural cloud is designed to wipe out every single living thing in its path. The entire mountain is covered in these eggs, causing widespread ecological ruin. Using a vine, he climbs out of the pit. He has to move. Things are going downhill fast, and he realizes the monster's goal is to grow the eggs. And release an apocalyptic fog the absolute second the rain begins to fall. Once it completely covers the area, not a single soul will make it out of here alive. Meanwhile, the retreating soldiers spot the security fence just 200 meters away. But they are not getting closer. They stop, completely frozen in fear. How did this happen? Did they run the wrong way? They are lost. No, it is a cruel illusion. The fog is actively trapping them in this nightmare loop. Terrified, Zhang Yuan remembers his brother warning him about this exact phantom mist. Wang Jie begs him to stop joking, but the other students know it is real. Once you step inside this fog, your mind becomes completely trapped in a false reality. Everyone remembers the Zishan Park tragedy, when that mist finally cleared. Hundreds of people had vanished without a single trace, and nobody ever found out why. Across the barrier, the instructors are panicking. Where did the students go? They were standing right there just a second ago, now empty air. Why is no one stepping out of that thick fog? It is a short path, how could they? An instructor volunteers to go back into the mist and check on the students. His partner agrees, but warns him that this fog feels incredibly creepy. They decide to tie a safety rope tightly around his waist so he has a secure path back. The squad leader warns the young instructor to stay alert while navigating the blinding mist. If he runs into any danger, he must scream or pull hard on the lifeline. He must stay extremely alert and signal back immediately if anything goes wrong. The tightening rope shows the instructor is already 200 meters deep inside. Suddenly, the squad leader shouts into the void to check on him. He calls out, "Can you hear us, Zio?" He needs him to respond somehow. Still no reply, but at only 200 meters away, how could Zio not hear them? Realizing something is terribly wrong, they quickly start pulling the rope back. They haul it back only to find the end cut clean. This is getting terrifying. Zio is gone, but just then, Minhai suddenly emerges in front of the panicked students. Everyone lets out a massive sigh of relief. Wang Jie asks where this weird fog came from. They were so close to getting lost. Minhai asks why the others did not follow him. Fan Nayoung apologizes. She heard a woman screaming and thought someone needed help. Minhai explains that the leader of the red-eyed mutants can mimic human voices. He asks the group if anyone had recently called out for help. One of the girls admits she did scream earlier when her foot got caught in a vine. Minhai realizes the red-eyed monster must have imitated that exact cry to lure them. From now on, they must be extremely careful if they hear any more voices. The students wonder why there was absolutely no mention of this in their textbooks. Lukian explains they only suspected it before, but never had any official proof. Wang Jie suggests trying to contact their instructors and teachers. But there is no cell service out here. Lemian notices Minhai has a strange communicator. She is surprised since only teachers are supposed to carry those military-grade devices. Where did he get it? Minhai ignores her and establishes a connection with his contact. Lu Ling picks up, asking if Minhai managed to escape with the students. Minhai replies that he only saved half of them. Many are still trapped. He warns that if Lu Ling is still at the camp, she needs to evacuate immediately. They must get out before the mist catches up. Can they secure the rear? Lu Ling promises she will help everyone escape, telling him he can trust her. Minhai then asks if she can reach out to the other instructors. She explains that only those still trapped in the mist have active communications. Minhai says he just discovered something crucial, but it might be useless now. Lu Ling insists that any clues could save lives at this point. They need to gather as much intel on this strange phenomenon as possible. Minhai explains that this deadly fog is actually produced by mutant eggs. When these eggs touch water, they release a highly concentrated gas. This gas rises and reacts with the humid air to create this blinding, heavy mist. Lu Ling is amazed by this discovery. It is an incredibly vital piece of information. Now they might actually stand a chance. She mentions that researchers recently captured a giant centipede. It has a terrifying human face, and it is the only fog beast they have caught. They tried to transport it to the lab, but the monster somehow managed to escape. To escape, they first had to realize these giant centipedes feed on beetle eggs. Specifically, massive amounts of mutant eggs, which help them transform and escape the fog. This mutation lets them survive the mist. Minhai wondered if they had to eat those eggs too. But Lu Ling warned against it. Those eggs are highly toxic to humans. Only a centipede's stomach can actually process and digest that deadly poison. Recent reports place the monster near Shio Ridge, deep inside the heavy fog. Right now, it's hunting in the mist. Minhai suggested they locate the beast first. If they find the creature, they might actually stand a chance of surviving this nightmare. With zero time to lose, Teacher Zhang and his group suddenly emerged from the whiteout. The grave instructor warned that escaping this bizarre, abnormal mist might be entirely impossible. Even the mighty Astronomical Union couldn't explain how its isolation barrier worked. Stuck forever, Wang Jie asked if they were truly trapped. He had heard terrifying rumors about this place. Teacher Zhang knew they were isolated. No one outside knew their real situation. Waiting for rescue was totally useless. Don't give up, the students urged their teacher to fight. Luan added that Commander Lu Ling had already mapped out a potential escape route. It would require everyone's complete cooperation. Luan quickly turned back to Teacher Zhang. He explained that Minhai had recently established contact with Commander Lu Ling. The young man urged them to move fast before the giant beast showed up. They needed to gather as many mutant eggs as possible. Lehman doubted Minhai's sanity. Why would anyone suggest something so incredibly foolish during a life-or-death crisis? With survival barely guaranteed, Lehman argued this was no time for crazy ideas. Minhai explained to the group that those eggs were actually their key to escaping. They would serve as perfect bait to lure out the giant centipede. That beast was their sole ticket out. Minhai outlined the risky plan in detail. They had no other options left. The fog was terrifying, but surrender wasn't one. Teacher Zhang finally agreed. They had to divide into teams and search for eggs. Minhai told Liu Qin and Teacher Zhang to focus on safeguarding the remaining students. Their priority was keeping everyone safe and gathering the survivors back at the camp. Minhai pointed out that Lehman already knew the exact coordinates of the mutant nest. Because of that, Lehman and Fenyang would go secure as many eggs as possible. Only then could they successfully trap the centipede, but Minhai had other plans. He felt there were still too many unanswered mysteries hiding inside this thick whiteout. He wanted to investigate personally. Fenyang agreed, sensing something deeply wrong too. A highly dangerous threat was definitely lurking nearby, watching them from the shadows. She remembered when their school train first halted at the edge of the fog. A horrific beast had emerged, slaughtering everyone in sight. Minhai warned them about it. Because of that creature, they had to remain completely silent and stay hidden. Soon, Luan and Teacher Zhang ventured deep into uncharted, dangerous territory. They kept moving forward cautiously. That was when Lo Ming contacted them. She confirmed she had successfully switched the frequency to reach everyone. She contacted all battle groups, instructors Jui, King Hai, and Mon. Along with Jingshini and Ging, reported in, fully prepared for their next orders. Minhai and Fenyang also checked in, already moving swiftly on their mission. Hearing Minhai's steady voice, Teacher Mialan realized they still had hope. Minhai was the student who skipped morning training. Is he truly a member of the Dragon Fang organization? Luo Ming says the monster detector is ready. The fog has reached a 3-kilometer radius, the commander warns. That no monsters are visible yet, but suddenly, she reports a massive change. Beasts have spawned at 3 locations simultaneously, the valley, the river, headquarters, and the mountain peak. She is stunned. Just seconds ago, there was not a single beast. How are they multiplying? Luo Ming explains that they have no starting point. They are just appearing as if they are teleporting. Luo Ming warns one of her instructors, thanking that a monster has spawned right behind her. It is huge. They must flee immediately. Fanking receives the message, but she cannot see the beast. Yet the colossal beast is on a tree right behind her. Fanking looks around and spots the creature, quickly throwing a barrage of shurikens. But they bounce off harmlessly. The beast strikes back. Luo Ming alerts Minhai that the mutants are attacking again, right behind his back. He wonders how this is possible when the radar was clear. Just seconds ago, Minhai braces himself, ready to grind them all to dust. The young man activates his powerful reflective fist. He believes he has damaged the nest of these mutants, but Luo Ming warns that he cannot possibly wipe out all the mutant fly scorpions. The protagonist asks what to do since they can already smell his presence. Luo Ming replies that she has located where the beasts are emerging. The scorpions are all flying out from a single nest on the south side of the ridge. Minhai reports there are over 10 monsters in front of him. How many are in that nest? Luo Ming only sees a few small red dots on her sensor, but right next to Minhai. It is like an endless breeding factory with infinite beasts. As soon as he crushes one batch, the next wave immediately swarms him. Minhai notes that their numbers never seem to dwindle no matter how many he kills. In a few hours, they could flood the whole valley. Luo Ming agrees that if they form an army, nothing will survive. They will destroy humanity and all vegetation in their path. The commander admits they underestimated their foe. Dealing with them is far harder than she thought, since their camp is located outside the valley. Luo Ming orders Minhai to defend this pass. She must also warn the other combat instructors immediately because they too are in extreme danger. Luo Ming reminds the young man that despite being a member in the Dragon Fang, he is still just a student. She sincerely apologizes for placing such a massive, heavy responsibility on him. She knows Minhai is very capable, but he must promise to survive. Minhai expresses his gratitude to the commander and the other instructors, glad they do not abandon students. He approaches the glowing zone, realizing this must be the massive nesting factory the commander mentioned. He immediately launches an attack on the mutants at the heart of their spawning ground, fighting with relentless intensity. As he stepped closer to the glowing object, he realized it was an unknown portal. It led straight into the mist, not some insect factory, likely letting monsters crawl through. Eager to see what lay on the other side, Minhai felt a sudden surge of curiosity. Unafraid, he stepped right inside, completely ready for whatever was waiting for him. On the other side, the young man found a bizarre landscape crawling with beasts. Giant eggs littered the ground, while a massive fire dragon soared through the strange sky. Swarms of flying scorpions filled the air, completely surrounding every inch of this realm. The comet goddess screamed that Minhai had lost his mind for coming here. He needed to leave right now, but Minhai only wondered how she got here. What even was this place? The goddess didn't explain, asking if he wanted to die. Not wanting a miserable death, Minhai decided to listen and get out of there. Mutants instantly chased the young man, prompting the goddess to yell at him to run. She ordered Minhai to move quickly, since she was about to destroy this wormhole. After the monster attack, Fan Xin collapsed onto the ground, entirely helpless and vulnerable. Standing over her, the creature hissed that it wanted to merge with the girl. Meanwhile, the students got completely lost in the thick fog. Then, Fan Xin appeared. Relieved, the students let out a sigh, fully believing their savior had finally arrived. They quickly explained how they escaped the beasts, but Fan Xin suddenly began to change. Her face distorted as she let out a terrifying, inhuman shriek right at them. Before anyone could react, she pounced on a student and bit into his neck. Horror struck the group as they realized this thing was definitely not their instructor. Screaming in sheer panic, they scattered as the monster pursued to destroy them all. During the chaotic run, one of the girls tripped, painfully twisting her ankle. Her friends screamed at Jing Jing to get up, begging her to keep running. Pushing through the pain, Jing Jing stood up, desperately trying to flee the area. But giant tentacles shot out, wrapping tightly around both girls and pulling them back. The beast smiled at its easy prey. Meanwhile, Lu Ying still couldn't contact Fan Xin. She desperately broadcasted, telling the instructor to meet up with Minhai if possible. But her assistant grimly pointed out that Fan Xin might already be dead. Her signal cut out moments ago, suggesting her life signs had completely vanished. Luo Ming insisted they couldn't give up, refusing to leave a comrade behind. If she was still out there, they had to rescue her no matter what. Still, Lu Ying felt something was off, since device malfunction was highly unlikely. She decided to directly warn Minhai, urging him to remain extremely careful. But right as she tried, Minhai's signal suddenly vanished from the radar. Panic set in. How was this possible? Was he already dead? Just then, a frantic disciple burst inside, reporting that Fan Xin was slaughtering classmates. Stunned, Luo Ming tried frantically to get in touch with Minhai. Lu Ying screamed over the comms that Fan Xin was being controlled by something. Whatever was heading their way now was incredibly dangerous and definitely not human. Meanwhile, the goddess told Minhai that he had escaped just in time. If he had stayed a second longer, his soul would have been completely wiped out. That realm is filled with terrifying secrets that humanity is simply not ready for. Shaken, Minhai admitted that he felt like he had just peered into hell. Reassuring him, the goddess said it was over, then made a suggestion. Minhai needs to pull himself together. Once he grows strong enough, nothing will stop him. Handling this will be easy. Minhai admits he is stunned, but he refuses to. Let fear take over. He figures his own carelessness might have caused the communication device to break down. Minhai tries contacting instructor Fanhin again, while a monster wearing Fanhin's face creeps up behind him. Sensing the danger, Minhai quickly spins around only to see Fanhin standing there. She claims she is badly hurt, begging him to help her get back to camp. But Minhai immediately notices that the instructor's eyes are bleeding. He feels suspicious. Why are Fanhin's shoes completely dry? She had to cross the river to get here. With those injuries, there's no way she could have hopped across the slippery stones. Sensing his doubt, Fanhin suddenly morphs into a hideous beast, lunging straight for Minhai. Minhai recognizes it instantly. This is the exact same demon from the train station. Back then, after devouring the conductor, it stayed behind to digest her corpse. By mimicking her form, it easily boarded the train. That means the real Fanhin is dead. Minhai realizes the monster must have eaten the instructor's body to steal her identity. This thing is incredibly cruel and cunning. If Minhai hadn't spotted those red eyes, he would have walked right into the middle of its deadly trap. The creature boasts that the instructor was a delicious snack. Minhai notices it speaks. In Fanhin's exact voice, mimicking human speech, the demon sneers that Minhai shouldn't expect any mercy since he completely ruined its perfect plan. It promises to tear him to shreds, but Minhai notices its fighting style closely matches the aggressive tree attacks he faced during the qualifying tournament. Thankfully, Minhai has grown much stronger and more skilled since that day. He just needs to wait for an opening to strike back with everything. To win, Minhai needs the perfect spot to unleash his spiritual fist technique. Normal moves simply won't cut it. Meanwhile, the monster brags that devouring Fanhin has made it incredibly powerful. Now, the beast boasts that it will reach a whole new level once it consumes Minhai. Tired of the empty threats, Minhai unleashes a fierce counterattack. The beast flies backward, but Minhai quickly realizes his mystic fist isn't powerful enough for a one-shot kill. The demon sneers, "Is that really all this human has? You people are too predictable." Yet it admits the young warrior is successfully dodging every single strike. Minhai possesses incredibly rich spiritual blood, making him look far more appetizing. In the dead instructor, Minhai snaps back, calling the creature absolutely repulsive. He calculates that he only has enough energy for 13 strikes. But unleashing the ultimate secret technique requires 49. Engaging in close combat is far too risky right now. Without serious luck, the monster's claws would have shredded his internal organs by now. He needs to find a powerful physical enhancer to combine with his mystic fist. Using ordinary sand is completely useless here. Minhai figures he needs a solid stone at least 10 times stronger than ordinary rock. He remembers spotting an obsidian cave during his morning training run deep in the mountain valley, but the dense fog completely blinds his view now. He can't see the path. He only recalls a massive dead tree standing right behind the cave entrance. Minhai finally finds the dead tree, but the monster appears right beside him, warning him not to even think of running away from his fate. The beast sneered, "Humans can't escape. They should just let themselves be eaten." But Minhai spotted the cave. He bolted inside. The monster followed him right in. She laughed, mocked his fists. They'd never hurt her. Minhai smiled. "Let's test that theory." He unleashed his devastating fist of fury. She flew backward, yet somehow she kept her feet despite being completely dazed. No mercy, Minhai advanced as she struggled to understand how he did it. The warrior didn't care who these monsters were, nor how powerful their kingdom was. If they dared to invade this land, they would be immediately, ruthlessly wiped out. No right to exist. The monster shrieked that escape was completely impossible anyway. All humans were doomed. Nobody could hide from the deadly creeping mist. But then she stopped. Sudden crystal traps pinned her to the cold floor. Minhai had activated them. As the creature dissolved, a strange object appeared. A bizarre artifact floats above her ashes. Seriously, what could this thing be? The goddess of the mist materialized, identifying it as a drop of life. It altered or granted raw abilities. This moon demoness was a high-tier mutant. She hadn't even reached her true peak strength before Minhai destroyed her. He knew she was strong from their first encounter, but today felt different. Her raw power almost overwhelmed him. He had barely managed to survive. The goddess warned him, intelligent, evolving mutants were far too dangerous to ignore. Left unchecked, they would transform this world into their demon realm, Minhai realized. The origin of the drop of life now, the goddess made a proposal. She asked for the drop so she could purify its lingering mutant corruption. While the beast's spirit remained inside, he could never safely use it. Minhai looked at Shiwa, asking if she wanted it to boost her own strength. After all, she was already far stronger than this moon demoness. Shiwa demurred, saying she couldn't handle it alone unless he proved himself. Besides, he wanted to show her the beauty of human life. But get this, even after all that chaos, her perspective remained unchanged, Minhai knew. Shiwa would still back him up, helping him grow strong enough to fight. He had to prepare for the strongest entities of the other world. The goddess asked if they were still on for their mutual evolution agreement. She hoped the pact still stood, and Minhai gave his firm nod. Then she told him to forget whatever he witnessed inside that hole. She hated that place. It was a hideous, unnatural void compared to Earth. Minhai stood over Instructor Fanking, his expression heavy, he had hoped. To save her and gently hoisted her limp body onto his back. Lu Ling called over the radio, and Minhai asked for clear instructions. Lu Ling asked if he had finally located Instructor Fanking. He replied that he was carrying her back to camp right now. But she showed no signs of life, and he refused to leave her. The monsters would only defile her. Lu Ling grew deeply concerned for him. After all, Fanking was controlled by the terrifying Azure Moon demonic mother. That beast devoured others to steal their unique powers before she died. Minhai stated that all the monster eggs were collected. They must move. They had to evacuate. He could never forget the horrors he witnessed. Once those terrifying monsters reach the humans, there will be absolutely nothing left of them. Luo Ling warns they are close, and Minhai is traveling. A completely clear path, but one grumbling collector asks Shu why they are lost. With absolutely no village in sight, Shu suddenly throws a punch at the whining collector, reminding him it was his idea to steal those red-eyed eggs. The guy sheepishly scratches his head. He already knew they could easily get lost in this fog. They gathered plenty of valuable cargo, but getting back is proving to be a nightmare. Suddenly, one terrified boy asks if they are being followed. Su snaps at the boy, telling him to stop being so cowardly and terrifying others. But she is wrong. There is indeed something approaching them. Teacher Zhang and his squad approach, asking if they are local villagers, and why they have ventured this deep. Seeing them, Shu calms down. He admits they got a massive scare, thinking they had run into the red-eyed freaks. But the students point out they posted a clear notice forbidding anyone from entering. The young guy admits they were just desperate to make some easy money. Shu chimes in, explaining that mutant beast eggs cost 100 times more than chicken eggs. So they figured with the area cleared, they could raid all the nests risk-free. He even boasts that they have already filled up 3 whole baskets. Teacher Zhang dryly remarks that is plenty, but they must return to camp. Before they head back, the girls mention that Lu Chen left a message for everyone. She went to search for the other students and wants to meet in an hour. Teacher Zhang knows they have to move quickly to coordinate the meeting at the foot. They must gather everyone and return to camp with Lu Chen and the others. The instructors order everyone to fall in line, as time is running out. Meanwhile, Lu Chen catches up with the lost students, who are completely paralyzed with fear. They stammer that someone is chasing them, but she tells them there is no need to worry. She commands them to stay close as they navigate their way back through the blinding fog. Lu Chen leads the group of students through a dark mountain cave. Next, they wade through a rocky stream, continuing their dangerous trek. After crossing a thick bamboo forest, Lu Chen is relieved that everyone is finally safe. Now the trail markers left on the trees will guide them back to Teacher Zhang. Suddenly, Lu Chen halts, instantly sensing a deadly threat lurking above. She sounds the alarm just as a swarm of monsters drops on them. Gigantic mutant spiders strike from the canopy, but Lu Chen springs into action. She easily destroys the spiders, saving the students. The kids watch in absolute awe. They struggle with just one red-eyed spider. Yet Lu Chen easily obliterates several at once, making them feel completely safe. A tense reunion finally takes place as Lu Chen's group meets teacher Zhang. The disciples mutter nervously, wondering what kind of unnatural fog this is. It is crawling with deadly creatures that are actively dragging students away. Teacher Zhang warns that these mutants are raiding and they must move. They have to escape immediately before even stronger beasts catch their scent. They have a clear escape route, but it requires them to work together. Teacher Zhang reminds them that despite being students, they are trained hunters. And right now, they just have to prove what they are made of. All they had to do was cross this steep mountain trail to reach safety, but the students spotted countless dead monsters if they had faced these beasts. Earlier, they would have been slaughtered, but who on earth defeated them? The kids suddenly spotted their badass instructor Nailan standing right ahead. The girls urged everyone to move fast and head back to camp, but they quickly noticed instructor Nailan was badly wounded. She claimed she was just tired and only needed a bit of rest to be good as new, but suddenly blood coughed out of her mouth. Her body was completely impaled by a sharp spike. What just happened? A giant monster lurking in the trees yanked the instructor right toward its jaws. The terrified students instantly scattered in all directions. But they were ambushed, leaving everyone completely trapped in a massive, sticky web. The trapped students shrieked in absolute terror, unable to break free. Then a young man, carrying a heavy basket of eggs, realized someone was actively stalking them from behind. The student wondered if this beast was tracking them. Why didn't it strike earlier? Teacher Zhang realized the monster was just waiting for them to gather. It wanted to wipe them out all at once, behaving exactly like a hungry, ruthless anteater. When it finds a colony, it does not just devour them immediately. Instead, the predator stalks them quietly. The fleeing ants will always lead the beast right back to their nest. Then, it can easily destroy the entire colony at once. These creatures communicate in a very specific way. If one gets hit, it warns the entire group to run. Hearing this, one girl finally understood the truth. The monster was treating them just like ants, using their own alerts to gather a massive feast. But Lu Chen pointed out another disturbing detail. The beast chose not to wait for them to reach their safe camp, stopping them midway instead. This means the monster knows the camp is guarded by much stronger fighters. Lu Chen declared that the beast is actually terrified, meaning they can definitely win this fight. Professor Jing received word that his top assistant Lu Chen was rushing in. To save the students, Lu Chen vowed to crush that wretched beast herself. Teacher Zhang urged her to be careful, but she was already charging forward into battle. Lu Chen was completely unstoppable, launching a brutal assault on the giant fiend. Teacher Zhang watched in absolute awe. She truly earned her rank. She was the absolute pride of their superhuman institute. Any other student would have frozen. Pure terror. Now, they could only desperately pray that she would buy them enough precious time. But what is her plan? Teacher Zhang saw she could not handle this fight completely alone and yelled for the remaining students to assist her. With that, Lu Chen rallied the kids, pushing the monster back as it took heavy damage. Teacher Zhang unleashed a storm of acid rain to shield the kids from incoming strikes, shouting that he could only provide cover and was unable to fight directly. He could not fight this demon directly. Lu Chen replied that it was fine. Protecting her classmates was her duty anyway. Suddenly, everyone looked around in pure, stunned shock. Where on earth did all these terrifying spider demons come from? What were they planning? Why on earth were they ruthlessly slaughtering their very own kind? Instead of attacking humans, the smaller spiders swarmed toward the massive boss. Turns out the giant monster can regenerate by consuming its own allies to heal its wounds. Had all of Lu Chen's desperate efforts been in vain? Scratching this beast is nearly impossible. Still, Zhang reminds them they all possess superpowers. Uniting is their only escape. They cannot let Lu Chen fight this alone. The girl begs Zhang not to blame these terrified students. This giant beast is the Skull Widow, possessing an overwhelming Lord-rank aura. She planted deep seeds of fear in their minds, and now she feeds on their terror. Feeding on their panic, a student asks what they should do. Is there any way to break free from this web? Zhang insists they cannot run. They cannot abandon the trapped. Besides, this monster has the ability to regenerate. Killing it now is impossible. Lu Chen urges Zhang to flee. Zhang must take the students and escape. She will deal with this beast. It is her duty. She knows they will stand up and fight. They will unite, but right now, Lu Chen notices something horrifying. This beast just consumed half of its own demonic spiders, healing itself and growing even stronger. Channeling her internal energy, Lu Chen rises off the ground, preparing to strike. She readies a strike, but the students refuse to back down. They refuse to abandon her. Even though terror paralyses their bodies, they have pride. These are elite students of the Evolution Academy, and they will not cower. Sitting around waiting to die is not their style. Lu Chen rushes to the web. She prepares to slice the captive students free as the massive spider screeches. The beast declares that the prey is caught, and it is time for a delicious feast. Lu Chen fires back. She is nobody's prey, and these pests must die. The monster counters. Humans are the real pests of the universe. Applying the acid solvent, Zhang manages to burn open an escape passage. They can finally escape, and the trapped students let out a collective cheer. Zhang urges them to move quickly, but stay calm so they do not jam the exit. Now look closely. The students realize Lu Chen has been deeply hypnotized. There is no reaching her now, as the nesting spiders swarm back on the attack. Zhang screams at Lu Chen, desperate to snap her out of the illusion. The trap is closing fast, and they must evacuate before they get sealed inside. He must protect them. Staying here means certain death. If the beast truly has her, Zhang knows only Lu Chen can save herself. No outside force can break this spell. He can only pray her willpower is strong enough. Turning away, Zhang mentally begs his student for forgiveness. He desperately wants her to live as he runs, but hope is fading. The beast mocks her, claiming the others will move on and forget her. Her trapped body will be stripped clean by spiders, leaving nothing but bare bones. Trapped forever, but Lu Chen summons every ounce of her strength. She screams that this prison won't hold her. The monster merely laughs. Mental strength means nothing when isolation, humanity's greatest flaw, takes hold. Humans fear being truly alone. Their beliefs only exist when others support them. Cut off from the world, every ounce of their conviction quickly fades away. In this dark space, time itself begins to crawl. Lu Chen is left to rot with her thoughts, remembering her former life as a prodigy. She was the brilliant star drawing every eye, yet entirely alone. Everyone showered her with empty praise and fake smiles, hiding their greed. They kept their distance. No one felt even a shred of affection for her. The girl, to them, her perfect image was fake. Time dragged on slowly. She had hours to think. Meanwhile, teacher Zhang managed the students escaping from the danger zone. Just then, Minhai approached. Meanwhile, Lu Chen faced the monster. How ridiculous, she sneered. It was just a beast eating its own kind to heal its own wounds, yet it dared to treat humans like pests. Lu Chen said humans are 100,000 times more generous than beasts. They sacrifice themselves for allies. Monsters only know how to exploit one another. It was sickening. Then the giant spider monster hissed back, mocking her because her comrades abandoned her, but Lu Chen stood firm. It was her choice, she snapped. The beast argued they chose betrayal. They left her behind. Outside, Minhai urgently asked if everyone got out. Did they forget anyone? Teacher Zhang replied they escaped only because of Lu Chen. Her sacrifice cannot be in vain, the instructor added. Minhai was furious. Teacher Zhang warned Minhai to stay back. This was a master-level spider. It used terrifying illusions to trap prey. The freshman would be totally paralyzed by fear. His strength was not enough. He would be consumed by dread, making him a complete liability to her. Minhai shouted back that compared to losing someone, fear was nothing. He immediately charged deep inside the danger zone. At that very moment, Commander Lu Ling radioed in, calling for Instructor Lu and Teacher Zhang. Teacher Zhang quickly confirmed that they could hear her loud and clear. Commander Lu Ling stated she had critical details on the casualties. Right after learning this, she deployed an elite from the Dragon Fang organization. He was almost there by now. Instructor Lu agreed they desperately needed someone that powerful. But they had seen no one besides Minhai. Teacher Zhang wondered, could she really be talking about Minhai? Was this kid not a simple freshman? No way a rookie was part of that organization. Meanwhile, Minhai saw Lu Chen standing frozen right in front of the spider boss and charged forward, wasting no time. Our hero annihilated every spider blocking his path, tearing through them to get to the girl, pulling her safely into his arms. Next, he faced the boss monster, unleashing a devastating, earth-shattering punch. Right where the giant beast had stood, a massive crater caved in, burying the shattered remains of the Beast Minhai gently lifted the weakened girl up once again, looking into her eyes. Was she still hypnotized? Slowly, her drifting consciousness started coming back, but she had no idea what had just happened. Minhai reached out to comfort her. Lu Chen stared blankly, barely recognizing him. She weakly murmured that her head was splitting. He tried to escape the area with her, running straight into instructor Gu Chai on the way. He confirmed the other students were safe, praising Minhai for single-handedly slaying the massive boss. Without his help, there would have been severe casualties, but Minhai insisted that Lu Chen did all the real work while he merely landed the final blow. She needs help. Under the influence of illusions, she lay heavily hypnotized. Fortunately, the spider monster had no time to lock the girl in its trap. Otherwise, Lucian would have remained paralyzed. Minhai noticed that she was out of danger now. Right before losing consciousness, she muttered something. Since everything was fine, they could return to base. Instructor Jucha felt certain that Commander Lu Ling had already briefed the young man about the second mission. Minhai confirmed it. Jucha asked if there were any witnesses. When Minhai fought to rescue Lucian, the young man replied they only saw him enter. What really happened? The instructor mentioned that Commander Lu Ling had recommended Minhai for their squad, despite having some initial doubts. Now he was glad to have Minhai around. Juchai reintroduced himself. He is the commander of the Dragon Tooth Squad under the Southgarn Division. He does not mind if Minhai calls him Instructor Juchai. Juchai added that members of Dragon Tooth must keep their identities secret. Juchai added that he needed to conserve his strength. Minhai will not hold any grudge for that, especially since Juchai could not step in to help sooner. Minhai agreed that the instructor had his own duties to prioritize. A giant centipede is their absolute key to escaping this thick fog, but she will not cooperate easily. Juchai explained that if he wasted all his energy on the spider, they would face massive risks when trying to capture the giant centipede. This colossal beast had already undergone 2 separate stages of mutation. Her first change occurred in the city sewers, and the second was in the Xi'an fog, reaching a terrifying Lord rank level. This is a massive threat. Calamity. Minhai recognized that they simply could not afford to take any risks here. The entire rescue mission would end up in vain if their plan failed now. Because of that, he trusted Commander Lu Ling and her strategic decisions completely. Juchai said that he appreciated the young man's help and was glad that he understood the situation. Minhai then asked about his next move. Juchai instructed him to keep his secret activities with the Dragon Tooth Squad hidden. Juchai explained some dark intel. Think about it. A student at their academy belongs to the will of heaven. Juchai noted that stopping the horrors they caused was the main goal of Dragon Tooth. That is why they needed a mole. Did Minhai remember Doctor Who, whom he fought back in Liang? He was a member of that group, using his newly invented mutagen to gain their recognition and secure an elite position. Minhai asked if this was the same mutagen that mutated beasts and caused a citywide crisis. Did he really terrorize everyone just to join the will of heaven? Cult. Juchai nodded, pointing out that Minhai had witnessed the doctor's complete descent into madness. Minhai asked Juchai if someone in their school shared those exact views. The instructor asked for his thoughts on the fog. Minhai felt certain that this fog was artificially created. It is a disaster, but definitely not a natural one. If this whole scenario was designed to slaughter the new generation of hunters, think of the absolute bloodbath waiting on Shael Ridge. Juch had noticed that the whole modern mages never let their guard down, keeping their magic defenses ready. That makes it incredibly hard for the will of heaven to destroy them. But if these new superhumans cannot finish training, building order will be impossible. Establishing cosmic peace over the next 10 years is going to be difficult. Still, each year, the Southern School graduates new heroes ready to serve. Young elites like Minhai and Lu Chen should be pillars of humanity. But if they die here, the enemy wins. Minhai admits he never thought of that. Instructor Gu Kai grimly warns him that their struggle for survival is a long war. Right now, the beasts are pulling out all the stops to destroy humanity. Apparently, humans are not the only highly intelligent, sentient beings fighting this war. Minhai realizes that if this creepy fog was made on purpose, he must investigate. He will find the culprit. The terrifying truth is the enemy could be anyone. It could be a teacher, an instructor, a classmate, or even an ally. He must suspect absolutely everyone in South City, starting from this moment. Under no circumstances can he reveal his status as a Dragon Fang elite. Luckily, she passed out almost immediately and did not notice his true power. He adds that none of his classmates or teachers have ever seen him fight. Instructor Gu Kai tells him to keep quiet so they can spin a story. They will claim the instructor killed the boss spider and saved Lu Chen. Minhai agrees, especially since they promised to compensate him very well. Minhai gets excited, eagerly walking back to meet the other students. Teacher Zhang immediately asks his classmates if it was actually Minhai who saved Lu Chen. Minhai quickly lies, claiming that instructor Gu Kai was the one who defeated the spider. Since Lu Chen is his old classmate, he simply had to try and help. He adds that he never could have beaten that spider boss on his own. Feng Nian chuckles, admitting they all actually assumed Minhai was with Dragon Fang. Minhai laughs it off, pointing out that only the absolute elite can join. He is just a freshman. Hearing this, his roommate Li Men quickly steps in. Li Men steps up to tell everyone he knows, for an absolute fact Minhai is no elite. Changing the subject, Minhai asks if they collected any dry mutant eggs. Li Men nods and shows him exactly where they hid the harvest. As they wait for the next beast, a violent earthquake suddenly hits. The ground splits. Minhai warns them that the beast is coming. It is the exact same giant monster that stopped their train. How massive is it? To cause an entire earthquake, its sheer strength must be off the charts. A colossal centipede towers into the sky, but Minhai fearlessly charges forward. He takes it on alone. Terrified, Teacher Zhang screams, asking its rank. Minhai yells back that this creature is infinitely more dangerous than the spider. But suddenly, he cannot move. Suffocating dread completely paralyzes his entire body. This mutant is a divine-tier beast. Mere courage will not save them. Instructor Gu Kai steps forward with a smirk, claiming he has waited a long time. He declares the beast is not escaping, before shouting a dominant order to submit. The colossal beast screeches in absolute pain and collapses to the ground. Minhai is shocked. Does Instructor Gu Kai actually control spiritual beasts? Is he really that powerful? He just completely subdued a legendary, divine-tier monster. Facing the monster, Minhai runs to the side of Instructor Gu Kai. He wanted to help his teacher, while Juki yelled for everyone to stay alive. Suddenly, the instructor turns around to face Minhai, his expression completely changed. Seeing his glowing red eyes, Minhai hears him talk about sacrificing his talentless body. He wants to secure a future for the next generation of superhumans. Minhai is completely lost. Before he can react, Gu Kai throws himself backward. Wait, did he just jump? Minhai watches the falling figure in utter disbelief. Just like that, Minhai is left completely alone with the giant centipede. He wonders if this massive beast is actually his master's final parting gift. Looking back, they had shared so many conversations on their way to camp. He never imagined Gu Kai would end his life like this. Soon, Commander Lu Ling approaches. She looks Minhai straight in the eyes, listening as the boy makes a fierce vow. He promises to track down the mastermind behind this tragedy and get revenge. Lu Ling reassures him, saying that no one doubts his ability to do it. Through his tears, Minhai repeats that he will absolutely find the culprit. Later, the young hero stands alone on a massive cliff surrounded by the beast. Amazingly, the entire surviving student group is now riding on the giant centipede. Instructor Zhang orders everyone to climb aboard so they can finally move out. Minhai commands the giant beast to guide them safely out of the blinding fog. Down at the mountain base, the rescue director orders a direct link to headquarters. They must report what is happening inside the mysterious fog immediately. Stay back, nobody is allowed to step into that fog. Hold on, look at that massive centipede suddenly emerging from the thick fog. Riding high on its back is Commander Lu Ling, saluting the shocked onlookers. She calmly explains that they managed to subdue this giant monster. A wave of relief washes over the crowd as they realize the students survived. Brave defenders of South City celebrate this miraculous escape from the abyss. Commander Lu Ling reports to Protector Pang that 346 survivors returned. Pang praises their efforts, noting how well they performed despite the extreme danger. However, he quickly asks about the fate of the brave instructors who led them. Lu Ling reports that instructors King Hai, Jing Hing, and Guoming are safe. Fanshan Mon and Gu Kai are gone. They gave everything for this mission. Those present stand and solemnly salute the heroes who died for their nation. The principal of South Academy, Mrs. Meng, delivers a touching tribute. She promises that the school will forever honor and remember their incredible sacrifice. Portraits of the fallen heroes are displayed for everyone to see. They are hailed as true guardians, forever engraved in the history of the academy. The entire crowd observes a deep, solemn minute of silence to honor them. Next, the presenter announces that today is also about celebrating the living. He wants to recognize the freshmen who fought so bravely against the mutants. Special thanks are given to those who saved the academy from total destruction. Once again, Lu Chen, the star student, is called up to the stage. Whispers spread about how she battled a lord-ranked beast to save her classmates. Over 100 young lives were saved thanks to her heroic actions. Teaching assistant Liu Shu also steps up to receive her well-deserved honor. The speaker praised Li Yin for his incredible support, while new student Minhai was also honored for his dedication. Next up, they thanked another outstanding freshman, Fan Nayoung, for her exceptional efforts. The presenter went on to explain that, through this intense training exercise, this brutal disaster, now they truly understand the horrific and cruel reality of the outside world. This ordeal they survived is just daily life for a superhuman. Their physical bodies, the leader says, are just vessels for sheer willpower, allowing them to build this safe haven where humanity can thrive. It is solely because of their sacrifices that everyone here can peacefully enjoy these precious moments of life. He believes the crowd will surely live up to expectations. In fact, he already sees greatness in several already risked their lives. An incredible, bright future lies right ahead of them. Standing as a shining ray of hope, back in her room, Lu Chen clutches a fresh bouquet of flowers in her hands. Right then, her phone rings. It is Minhai. Hearing his familiar voice immediately makes her blush with pure embarrassment. The young man reveals he is already waiting for her just downstairs, asking if he might be able to come up for a quick visit. She tells him to head on up since the door is open, and their eyes light up when they meet. With bright smiles, Minhai gently asks how she is doing, and the girl replies that she is feeling much better now, inviting him to step inside and make himself comfortable. She offers him a cold drink before asking if he was the mystery savior. Lu Chen mentions that plenty of eyewitnesses saw him break into the deadly spider nest. He humbly replies that the whole thing was a blur and that terrifying boss spider nearly tore him apart. He says it was a miracle that instructor Guchai arrived just in time because he was the one who saved them. Still, Lu Chen softly says she vividly remembers who actually pulled her from that dark abyss. Minhai reasons that since the spider monster had taken over her mind, she might have dreamed the entire rescue. After all, he is just an ordinary student who had to work incredibly hard just to get accepted into the Nando Special Institute. Lu Chen still thanks him for fighting on the front lines, explaining that she simply wanted to show her gratitude, making him blush all over again. And blushed deeply. Over at the training field, Fun Ling records another unexcused absence. He skipped out last Wednesday and flaked again today. They had a clear deal to meet here. Her partner chuckles, saying it is the first time he has ever seen anyone piss Fun Ling off. She snaps back that people who break their promises are the absolute worst. After all, they still have not settled their match. Her companion gently reminds her that today is the freshman awards ceremony. Besides, their recent training session was extremely unusual. He admits he does not care about any of that, though. He only cares if their mystery fighter shows up, explaining his absence for 2 weeks. Fun Ling scoffs, asking if he saw how incredibly strong that guy was. If he really is a mere freshman, she will go to the center of the field and perform a ridiculous seaweed dance. Her partner laughs, saying that she is going to lose that bet. Fun Ling declares that if he fails to show up next Wednesday, she will hunt him down using the school database. Man agrees the guy is an amazing sparring partner, but warns her that so Fun Ling rejected him right then and there. Liu Ken stood there completely confused. She had no idea what she was doing. Honestly, the whole situation felt pretty awkward, but they were supposedly dating, totally normal, except Minhai felt just as weird. Still, he soon realized she already had a boyfriend. She was just showing off her weird way of thanking him. Meanwhile, Minhai stared at the training grounds, suddenly remembering his promise he had sworn to that girl. They would keep on sparring after all. The deal meet up every Wednesday, and Minhai realized today was indeed Wednesday. He had to run. He might still make it. On the way, he quickly threw on a mask. The man saw Minhai. He was shocked. Did this kid Actually show up, Minhai apologized to the girl, quickly explaining that he was late because of the awards ceremony. Fungaling finally realized he was just a clueless freshman. Her uncle laughed. Fungaling had lost the bet. She reluctantly asked what embarrassing dance she had to perform on the field. Fungaling was absolutely fuming. Her day was officially ruined. Completely oblivious, Minhai asked if they were still sparring today. She snapped, absolutely not, he should stay out of her sight, better yet get lost. Fungaling's companion stepped up, sharing her own theory. He was clearly older. He fought her on equal ground after all. They didn't realize that he was actually 2 years younger. Minhai gasped, is this girl really a third-year student? The man nodded, amazed. Did this kid honestly not know her? Was there really anyone in this academy who didn't recognize the gorgeous Fungaling? The man handed him a card and told him to call if he ever got bored. Fungaling could be his sparring partner. She desperately needed a real match. Then he told the freshman to name his price. Minhai blinked. What was he even talking about? The man smiled. He was talking about buying Minhai's time. How much did he charge per minute of fighting? He offered to pay him $1,000 for each training bout. Minhai gladly accepted. They agreed to meet up next week. Minhai returned to his dormitory, ready to meditate. Once his mind cleared, he was suddenly facing a giant insect monster. It lunged immediately. Talk about a rude awakening. Goddess Shia warned him that he desperately needed to get stronger. By their system, he was still stuck at the moonlight rank. Minhai admitted he was completely outmatched. He couldn't fight the incoming dragon. The spider boss was just a warm-up, but high above that dragon, a truly terrifying beast appeared, completely blotting out the sky. Its shed skin spawned nests of deadly flying scorpions. If Lucian had not managed to wound that beast deeply, he never could have defeated it with his current power. Minhai knew he was far from ready. He was just not strong enough yet. The young man refused to let anyone die before his eyes. He had to train harder, better, pushing his limits. Goddess Shia noted that although he had made massive progress over 6 months, the body has limits. To break past his bottleneck, an extra component was absolutely necessary. Shia explained she had been closely studying human technology for ages.